Oh boy, hello everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the stream for some more The Letter. We have a lot to get through today. I think it's about 3 to 5 hours. So, look, if it's a 5 hour, I can't go that long. I'll end it at 2.5. If it's 3 hours, I'll push through. But I'll see what we can do, okay? Awesome. Let's keep going with it. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Oh boy. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell, for all I know. A hero might even come sweep me off my feet, if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
What, a hero sweeping us off? But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. Alright, here we are, St. Goretti's High School. Hey, St. Goretti's, isn't that the school that Kylie's in? And if this is St. Goretti's, then that means we as Rebecca teach here. Is that right? So we're Rebecca, we teach at St. Goretti's, and if you guys remember from before, I should say yesterday, I think there was Mary Ann's route also had some students from St. Goretti at the house, and I think they were just murdered as well. Ooh, alright, well, let's keep going. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are, merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind, while waiting for another busy work day to end. Then again, maybe in another life, I am one who knows. But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be, well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Like a dam that has opened, students begin piling out into the hallway soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let the mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. And if fussing over a minor cold last week tells me anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony, so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. Oh, right, yeah, because she has a cold, doesn't she, at the beginning of the game. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. Right, because Isabella gave us this. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I am to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike one minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. Hello, Ruth. Welcome. We just started. We are now doing, Rebecca. I keep thinking Rose, but no, it's Rebecca's route now. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all, that big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she has always been. I do understand that part loud and clear, it's just that I'd really rather not pass on another burden onto her.
Or become one myself.
Oh, she's worried about Isabella. This is before Isabella got hit by the car, by the way. Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from once you've all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow, That thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms in my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds once I do accept the call is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects. Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Yes,
Rose?
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper.
Ah!
Briar Realty Corporation.
Oh,
Briar Realty?
this is when she took a fall. My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
this is about Isabella, actually.
She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get the gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though still worrying, especially with words panic attack and pale looking a bit sickly woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? Very high. Oh, sorry, it said high, very high. I don't know why I thought that was an onomatopoeia. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest.
Oh, I like the panic.
Anthem's a fair distance from Luxbourne. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends.
Oh, poor Rose.
I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxbourne's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of the city? Yeah, tell me about it. But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now, to some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going.
Of course.
Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
Green hair.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking.
They have more
I
staff?
appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. Oh, well, that's nice. At least we're getting picked up. If only the same can be said for the news she brought. Wait, no, we didn't get picked up by her. We got picked up by Ash, didn't we? As Isabella. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Oh, St. Goretti High School, here we are again. Oh, nice. Look at that, there's like a lot of high school students and stuff around here, just loitering. Even in a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. And by the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with the warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, the single call of all possible things has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's really the other way around. Kylie! Ah! When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Oh yeah, because she's from St. Goretti. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vice. Like a vice? Is it V-I-C-E? Or V-I-S-E for vice? And at my attention, a grin spreads over her face.
Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello,
What language is that?
Kylie. You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink.
Miss Pink. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, alright? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
Oh, hello,
I'm
brother.
sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today. If I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Secret?
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out. Cute.
I made a promise.
Aww.
He said it's for Tia Luke.
Tio Luke.
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal. Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, they're nothing but well-behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Wait, Suarez? Is that a... What kind of name is that? Where's that from? Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, alright?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so.
What is he
You
doing?
want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Alright, show us.
Oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Yeah, true, we can't. Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. And frankly, another child to look after. Isabella. Spanish, you reckon? Ah, could be actually, yes, Suarez. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you.
Aww.
It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her Mama and Papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part?
God, we should really
That's
go.
where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Takako?
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than Southeast.
Japan?
But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore.
Aw.
Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too! Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Yeah?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly.
But not
To
from
be
Japan.
honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
Philippines, I think. After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years and no one will think it's enough time to know a person. Wait, did I say that right? 5 years and one will think it's enough time to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years, I've never not even once seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, all right?
Oh.
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so.
Aw.
A small one is okay.
Ah.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
Bye, Kylie.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling
Oh God,
down,
not this again.
falling down,
She doesn't look back or
falling
wait
down.
for any sort of
London
goodbye from
Bridge
me.
is
With a
falling
song and an
down.
extra spring in her
My
steps, she
fair
bounds
lady.
across the corridor with as much spirit only a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old, familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree, unbedridden, untroubled moments like this, I envy her, and as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind, which is the same, can be said of myself and my own worries. Luxbourne may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. I think it's more than just the reception. I think maybe the ghost is like messing with electronics or something somehow. I don't know. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. Only 30 minutes. Oh. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxbourne, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite. Wait, didn't Ash pick up Isabella? Living and breathing the songs of the old, whisperers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself. If I could only knock some sense into these people.
Oh God, Rebecca. Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up the main entrance. Yeah, apparently she's in the house now to pick up Isabella. Most of the guests are already heading out, though some still linger. It's mainly just to take photos of their house's facade, or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff, or Miss Cooper either. Oh God. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, no, don't go looking. I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost, or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number, the gesture familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. We barely know anything about Rebecca. That's true, that is true, but we're about to get familiar with her now. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the country has never been popular with the tech-savvy after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries, and the 4th one, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my tastes. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and an eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they are reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into the ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end.
Hello?
Ah!
Miss Cooper called earlier and...
Oh god. Oh, I heard that. I definitely heard that.
Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
I don't think we are. Without any warning, the call gets cut off. God damn it, phone, like ghost answering phones. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. Oh, that's not good. But above the noise cutting through the mute air remains the faint cries of a woman from beyond the foyer. Oh no! Oh, I hear it. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing this. There must be some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sob turns more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there? Isabella?
No, I don't think
Isabella?
so.
Is that you?
Oh, I think that's a ghost. No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious toward a door on the other side of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I had earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement would disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with a caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me.
Oh! God damn it, Ali! Hello, Ali. Welcome. Oh, that's one hell of a timing. Is that Rose's voice?
Oh, I am so sorry.
It is Rose.
I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's...
Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now, the cries will start again, or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even the concerned look comes from a total stranger. Finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh god, poor Rose dealing with 2 sods now.
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Oh, we got a cold, don't we?
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
Oh, did we miss her?
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her.
That's her. Recognition flashes in her eyes and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did.
I do like Rebecca.
Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. That girl never listened.
Rose? Rosie?
Hmm?
May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
Oh, Hannah. Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
Oh, that's the salesman kind of smile. It's an impressive thing, to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind
Isabella's
refreshments.
supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
All right, this won't be long, I promise.
She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. A couple or siblings, and another woman, probably the secretary. Do I see something glowing in the back of Luke? Yeah, I do! Do you see that? I see something glowing behind Luke and Hannah. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All of them are primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. Oh, Marianne as well. Oh my god, Marianne. I miss Marianne already. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. And we learnt in Hannah's walkthrough that Hannah and Rebecca know each other from a long time ago. And I guess, yeah, this is our first time meeting Marianne, but we also bonded with Marianne in the library as well, didn't we? Oh man, yeah, everybody does know everyone, god damn. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is, her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the 5 of us here. Pretty soon, I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
Oh,
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
We don't know their names. The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Nice.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment, a fleeting shift of my eye.
One day for us, Marianne.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
That's true. And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
Oh my god, because Luke calls Marianne Mint because of the drink that she had.
Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we? In
wants
fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few
Oh
days
my
ago.
god, poor Marianne. Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur, no, a shadow.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
What's happening with the audio? Or maybe it's because we're so concentrated on the shadow that the audio kind of feels a bit muffled to us.
Darling, your liver. You already had a glass today, and apparently a few days ago as well.
That's cool. I like
How
that.
many times do we have to remind you? Doctor's orders, remember?
Oh, it's getting more muffled. But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is, all except for the whispers and laughters. Judging, mocking, taunting, muffled inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds, tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully, into a bottomless abyss. On and on and on, till the sounds turn into a mere distant echoes. Until suddenly, it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade, and my eyes snap open. When I look to them again, it's gone.
Just a second, darling. Send my regards to Isabel, please. Poor girl. Please let her know she doesn't have to worry and tell her to get some rest. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it, and even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs and wait for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Yeah, because she got that sale. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we were going to... Hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
Do we?
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold. Weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, this stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. Why didn't she believe Isabella, being that she had been in that house? Did we tell Isabella that we went to the house to look for her? Oh, maybe Rebecca did tell her. Oh. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was, and still am, a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function, it did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now, I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. Oh no, it definitely is. It is an apparition. I simply must have listened to too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor, plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel.
You know what? Maybe it's a shadow. That the apparition that we saw is a shadow because we haven't seen the letter yet. Yeah, because we haven't met up with Zach's film yet, meaning that we haven't seen the letter. That's probably why we couldn't see the ghost, and the ghost was probably that shadow. Ah.
It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Nah, she went back home with Ash.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
Oh, you won't find her. With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. Yeah, because she went home with Ash. Isabella's no longer there, left shortly before I arrived. Or at least that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There's only a number of places in Luxbourne she frequents, and, well, she's never been the complex kind. It doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd she left on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab fares twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put! I mean, who does that?
I'd be pissed as well, actually, yeah.
Oh, sod off! You don't own the road!
Road rage. In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my trouble and a a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time traveling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxbourne, worried sick, and on top of that, maybe a little annoyed. Oh, definitely annoyed. Whether at the unexpected turn of events or at Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. The small avenue where it's located has been closed off early from any passing traffic to make way for the avid moviegoers who are sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but eventually I spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary mostly. Yeah, because it's huge. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them.
I knew it.
Oh, god damn it, Isabella! Wasting no time, I march over their little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness.
Becca, you're just in time.
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her face, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face.
Squish, squish, squish.
How are you? Are you all right?
Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from a confused frown at my questions, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us, none the wiser. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those also teaches you something about a person. If anything, it has given me more reason to constantly worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hand away, yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. I do like the quick sound effect just then. Cute. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing like none of us can be bothered to act like full-grown adults we're all supposed to be. Including Ashton. I won't put it past Isabella, but Ash out of everyone? In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this. Just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
There's a moment's pause. My hand's still mid-air as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. It doesn't meet my eye. I don't think he's even aware of what he said. But the meaning in each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Of course. Of course! Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put after that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words, both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest part of my mind, locking it away for no one to see.
Oh, that's good.
Aww.
At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
Aww. Yet, try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears his ugly head. Envy. Like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks no one can see. Every time my mind suggests his words mean more than they should. Every small, little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone.
Look, you guys.
For all I know, it may just be the same kind of fondness born from friendship. maybe I'm simply overthinking like he often tells me, or maybe there really is something there. But in his short display of impatience, I know the whole of it is just for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me nothing about him. For whose sake is it this time though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
My mouth opens, then snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond, not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty, so many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with much certainty, with much reassurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice. All I can give is a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. Before I can get a grip of myself and my own weakness, the mood immediately shifts and I'm being tackled into a hug.
Thanks, Becca.
It's always been you with him, isn't it?
Aww.
Did you say something?
Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
A lie, obviously. What else can it be? Each and every smile, a tiny effort to keep things as they are. Also, I tell myself. Little do I know, this is merely a preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and harmless teasing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. Oh no, this is the time. On that looks suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank, no matter how you look at it. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if our whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds now? Crivens, even my students wouldn't fall for this.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
She doesn't give me time to regret, nor think over my choice of words. From there, it escalates, grows into an argument too petty even for our standards as adults. Before we know it, one after another, harsh, scathing words are being spoken.
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me.
And us too.
If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
Damn it, Ashel.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
But someone has to be patient in all this. However much my own has already been frayed earlier, there's no one else. Who else here can deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid? Like every other time, it has to be me.
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
Just like that, she cuts us off. Slams the door right on our faces while my own temper flares before I can stop it. Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her when she snatches the blasted paper from Ashen, I hold on to it. Regardless of how upset she appears, soured expression and balled fists throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that. Words form at the tip of my tongue ready, but before I can open my mouth and let it all out, her feelings and mistakes be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own.
Guys!
A warning underneath the warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop and look to him, and even my own anger subsides a little at his tone.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together?
God, Zach's so cool. To an outsider, it may sound like a desperate request, but Zachary has always been the one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows what to say, and when he lets it fall, they only ring sharp and true.
We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be here for him, to give what little support we can give, yet here he is, trying to keep 3 stubborn people from outright hashing it out in public. Later, we can and will talk about it, of course. There's a proper time and place for it, and at the moment, my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer mattered. Beside me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines of his shoulders eased to something much more relaxed, his expression back to its usual nonchalance. Isabella, however, she stands perfectly still, her hands clasping the straps of her bag like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. There's no anger in her face, only an undeniable hurt. And she's never been good at hiding what she thinks, always the open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she looks up, her answer is also as simple.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
Her lips are curled up in a smile, though lacking both its usual brightness and glee, it's a smile nonetheless. I've seen it countless times. It's the very same one she would show when she knows she has no other choice, or simply when things get tough for her. But despite everything I already know about her, it catches me off guard. In all honesty, I expected her to run, to balk at the first sign of losing this time. I won't even be surprised. At 26, she is the youngest amongst the rest of us, less experienced, less accustomed to dealing with trivial quarrels like this. She's 26 and the youngest? Oh. Yet, here she is, holding herself and coping with it like how she would with matters concerning her family. Outside of that, to me, she has always been this childish, naive girl, and watching the opposite play out right now. Somehow, I find it difficult to wrap my head around it.
Alright, that's the Isabella I know.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
But I envy her.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby! I'm not one!
Aw, don't cry.
Damn it, Ash.
Stop it!
I envy her spirit, her warmth, her cheer, the shine in her eyes when she looks at the world, how everything seems to simply fall back to a pleasant, lively rhythm with her around, how easily and tightly she fits into our lives, even without bonds only long years could forge, like a lost piece of puzzle despite her jagged edges. How she draws people to her with ease, how Ashton, of all people, can be drawn to her.
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too! If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
Man, we are mad jelly. I make no effort keeping the bitterness from my tone. I let it seep, linger stiffly in the air as I avert my gaze from them. From the playful banter, the friendly teasing remarks, and Ashton's tender, affectionate smiles, all before the stabbing aches in my heart change into something too painful to bear. It's all in my head, is what I'd often tell myself. Yet the way my heart rends at just the sight of them hurts, and like a coward, I walk away from all of it, taking with me a small hope the movie will distract me away from these thoughts. Because like this, it's easy to find something to hate in her. Dusk has already given way to night when we leave the film fest. Unfortunately, it does nothing to improve my mood like I am hoping. Neither does the muggy air that greets us upon stepping back into the noisy streets. Too busy, too loud, too many people taking what little space the sidewalk offers. It forces anyone to bump shoulders with those they barely know, let alone care about. On a normal evening, I probably wouldn't have minded the crowd, nor the humid weather. It's not like any of them are bothering anyone. And yet, even with that admittedly a pleasant company, I can't bring myself to lighten up.
See you guys some other time.
Yeah, see ya!
Not even to return the smiles Ashton and Zachary gives us when we go our separate ways. Perhaps this started with Miss Cooper's call, or earlier than that. Maybe even the moment I left bed this morning. Bloody hell, it could have been because of that sodding letter for all I know. Couldn't care less at this point. All I want is to get a warm bath, sleep, and wait for this dreadful day to end. Now if only Isabella would stop babbling, then maybe this dull throbbing at the side of my head won't turn into a full-blown headache too.
Zach did a pretty good job with his movie, didn't he? Even though Ash said he ran into some trouble late into filming. But I knew he had it in him. It's not like I didn't believe he couldn't do it. I mean, did you see his face after the credits rolled? All those months he worked on this, and everything's finally...
You weren't even watching.
Only the first minutes. I watched the rest of it, I swear. Besides, Ashton was the one who wouldn't stop asking questions.
Well, why do we still need to talk about this then? I liked it. Ash liked it. You liked it.
Man.
Shouldn't you be telling that to Zachary in person? I'm sure he'll appreciate it better than I ever will.
Wow, we are such bitch.
I know that, but maybe there's something you want to say? Zach had you check the scripts before he went through everything, didn't he? You also worked on it, even if it was only for a short time. Maybe you want to...
I don't bother waiting for the rest. The moment I spot my car, I immediately make a quick beeline for it. Knowing her, this is merely another attempt at starting a conversation, just so we'll have something to fill the dead air, to replace the strained atmosphere we've somehow walked into. One thing, the very thing I'm not too keen to deal with at present. Behind me, Isabella also changes her pace to match mine, her soft strides growing brisk and uneven in order to catch up. A small part of me half expects she'll suddenly trip. She's not the clumsy sort, but there are definitely times when she can be the least coordinated person on the planet.
Becca, hey! Oh no. Wait for me!
And people wonder why I worry. They're not really completely unfounded once you've already grown familiar with her habits. Though right now, this is also at the very end of the list of things I want to think about. Sometimes it does become overbearing. Even her voice as she calls after me sounds nothing more than background noise to my ears now.
Rebecca, slow down, will you? Your car's not going to leave without us.
That's true.
The sooner we get on the road, the earlier we can get home. It's Friday, in case you didn't notice.
I know what day it is, but the traffic's not going to magically disappear, even if we go there right now.
I don't want to hear that from you. Didn't you used to complain how horrendous the traffic is back home for you?
Yeah? But that doesn't have anything to do with this, Becca.
Okay. What do you want to do then? Wait it out? Walk? I just want to go home, Isabella. If you want to stay out here longer, I won't stop you. But leave me out of it. I'm not up for any other foolish excursions tonight.
She did drive a long way.
I wasn't thinking about an excursion. I want to go home too. It's already late. It's just that you've been in this prickly mood since earlier. Are you really okay? Was it the cold? Or did something happen at school? Do you want to talk about it?
A long pause follows, and it holds everything she's been meaning to ask from the very start. I'm in no mood, but all the same, my hand stops short of unlocking my car, and my grip on the handle tightens. I can feel her eyes boring on me, waiting, hoping patiently for any answers I'd give. She's the same as Zachary, the bad liars. But when you talk to people like them, if you're not careful, they often leave you with no other choice but to admit the truth, those exact same ones I can't voice. Despite my lack of response, she pushes on surprisingly. This time her tone is quieter, more tentative than usual.
Was it because of the letter?
It's a well-meaning question, much like the rest of this talk, yet something in how she says it irks me.
If it is, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I did see something in the mansion, though. I wasn't lying about that.
Wherever she wants to take this, I no longer want to hear a word of it. Not at this minute. Preferably never. Especially when there are already a million other things buzzing and prodding inside my head. Sometimes my patience can only be tried for so long. What should we do, guys? Number one, I'm not in the mood to talk, or this cold caught up with me. What would you like me to do? So number one, I'm not in the mood to talk, or number two, this cold caught up with me. Let's check our relationship with Isabella. Not that good, unfortunately. Eee. Well, it's up to you guys. You guys know the drill. I'll give you guys a good 10 seconds to vote on which one you want. So, again, number one, I'm not in the mood to talk. And number two, this cold caught up with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's go with this cold caught up with me.
And during the open house, even if there were a lot of people around, there were weird things happening.
Oh, that was a plus, actually. That was pretty good.
I don't know if there was anyone else who noticed, but I heard things.
Spooky things?
I'm sure it wasn't because I fell down the stairs. Even before that, in the attic,
Isabella.
Yeah?
A pause, though I don't let it last, only to give myself a small window to breathe before I lay down the words between us with as much restraint my patient allows. Which is not much after everything. I can only hope Isabella would simply take them as they are. She can be stubborn as a mule when she wants to be.
This kind of conversation tonight. Look, it's been a long day. I think this cold also caught up with me, and I'm really exhausted. Can we talk about this some other time?
She blinks, and although disappointment flashes momentarily in her face, she gives me a curt nod. A relief enough for me, perhaps the first time I genuinely feel it today. As unpleasant as this day has been, seeing something go the way I've anticipated takes the edge out of it. Even if lying through my teeth had to go with it.
Oh, alright. You should have just said so. I told you should have taken a full week off. Were you able to get the meds I brought you, though? Do you need anything? I could drop by the pharmacy for you.
Yeah, no need to fuss. A good night's sleep is all I need. I've been busy the whole day. I guess I should have listened to you and taken it easy. But we have exams to prepare for. It's one or the other, you know?
I knew it! Here I thought you were just upset about something. Even Ash looked a little bit worried about you.
We are upset though. We're jelly.
It's fine. Let's just head home, okay? I'll make it up to you next time. Call me out to lunch or wherever. Just... not right now.
Okay, but should you be driving? If you want, I can call a taxi for us. You'll hate paying the extra fees, but you'll be able to get some rest on the way home.
No, don't call a cab. I can manage driving at least. Just get in the car so we can be on our way.
I'm already opening the door and climbing into the seat before she can protest. Left with no other choice, she follows inside shortly, albeit with a bit of reluctance. The guilt from this will eat at me later, but for now, these little falsehoods are mine to bear and hide under. For now, this is the better choice. Better than pretending she doesn't exist or giving her vague answers. Certainly better than harsh words and outright lashing out at her. I can find a little comfort in that. Thankfully, if there's anything left to be spoken between us after, we won't have to discuss it on the way home. Or rather, we can't. Because no sooner than we hit the road, Isabella dozes off. Despite my foul mood, I still end up suppressing a laughter once the first sounds of her breathing fill the car.
Mama?
Not your mom, Isabella.
Aww. Slow and steady, the quiet rhythm so completely unlike her, so far removed from every impression anyone has of her. A few faint whimpers will occasionally come from her, but otherwise, it's just us, this silence, and it's so utterly unexpected. Still a welcome break, of course. Peace and quiet is one thing you'll rarely get with her around. Yet, it's nowhere near comforting. It merely lends the air this strange clarity. Every little sound, every single movement more palpable. And with it comes the unease. A jolt of surprise hits me. It's almost comical if this were a different situation. In my haste, I accidentally dislodge my mobile from its seat on the dashboard when I swipe on the screen. Soon, I'm scrambling blindly for it with my other hand, while keeping a steady eye on the road ahead. What? No! Don't ever use your phone and drive. God damn it, Rebecca. A voice crackles from the loudspeakers before I can put it back. Although muffled heavily by the surface, I recognize the person on the other line from her chipper tone alone.
Hello?
Miss Cooper?
Oh, you're still awake. Evening. I hope I didn't disturb you or anything. I know it's a bit late. Sorry about that. I just want to check on you and Isabella. That girl's still not answering her mobile. Were you able to meet up with her?
Oh, we're breaking up.
Yes, she's with me. We're on our way home.
Hello? What was that again? I can't hear you properly.
Sorry, let me just fix this dumb phone.
Oh? My hand stops dead for a moment. I spare the device a brief glance, waiting. Seconds pass. Nothing happens though. Frankly, I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but the lines of my mouth forms into a frown regardless.
Miss Cooper?
Yes, still here.
Did you say something?
Just that I didn't get the last part. What were you saying again?
No, I thought you...
Oh, the ghost is fucking with our phone.
Never mind. Must be the signal acting up.
God damn it. Oh, that's definitely not her.
What?
Is everything all right over there?
Certainly. Is something wrong? What wouldn't? Okay, you seem to be busy. If this is a good time, I can just call you back some,
Miss Rose? Oh my god. I have to make a conscious effort not to panic then and there, although my tight hold on the steering wheel tells a different story altogether.
Miss Cooper! Rose? Hey, Rose! Are you still there?
Only a burst of static answers me, and... Oh, that's fucked. Maybe this lapse is entirely because of exhaustion. It has been a long day, and I haven't fully recovered from last week's bout of flu, contrary to what I've been telling people. Though, perhaps had I paid closer attention to it, had I not been so occupied with other thoughts, I probably would have noticed earlier that it never came from my phone, but from somewhere right behind me. What? Oh no! Oh, she ain't smiling. Time slows to a crawl. Looking up is a mistake. The first thing I see is its face, a ghastly shade, every inch battered, bruised, and bloodied. Even in the darkness and the world passing by in a blur of lights outside, I can still make out the wounds. Blood still oozes from it, little trails of crimson running down its face, glistening under what little light there is. But it is the gleam in its eyes that catches mine. The quiet plea, the anguish, and the desperation in them, more than its hideous features and the awful stench of gore now soaking the air. And try as I might, I can't bring myself to look away, even as its lips contort into a horrific smile. Oh no, don't smile. Even as a sharp, harsh noise pierces the air and the silence around us.
Rebecca!
Oh god!
Car! Eyes on the road!
Against everything I've been taught and constantly reminded myself, I close my eyes. Don't! Oh my god. It's a brief moment. A short, vivid second of muscle memory and instinct completely taking over. And if I didn't allow it, if my hands didn't move, or my feet didn't hit the brakes in that exact second, I might have... Isabella and I might have... No. I shake the notion away before I lose myself in it. Right now, it's an ugly line of thought I refuse to venture into, not when breathing is a struggle and every ounce of strength has been totally drained from my body. Most definitely not while Isabella's panicked voice beside me still rings in my ear. We're alive, we're safe, that's all that matters. But it is not her face that I look for when I finally open my eyes. All gone. I expected stains, little telling marks and creases on the covers to show me where it sat not a second ago. Oh my goodness. Oh, jeez. So, because we looked at the letter, now we can see her. Oh my god, damn it. But whatever it is, it left not a single trace. And though courage is a hard thing to gather at this point, I take what little of it remains in me and turn towards the back seat, even though there's none. Or was there really something in there in the first place? And with how empty it is, I'm beginning to doubt it. The stupid flu again.
I need a long rest after this.
Yeah, I bet. My hands fall uselessly to my sides, numb from how taut my grip on the wheel has gone, and yet trembling from an unexpected rush of adrenaline. Against my ears, my heart still pounds on an erratic rhythm, and my breathing hasn't slowed down. But the world has already righted itself without waiting for me, and little by little, second after second, as I sit here motionless, colors begin to seep back around me. Along with it are the sounds and a voice no longer indistinct ringing it was earlier.
Rebecca! Becca! Are you okay? Answer me, will you? You're scaring me! You know what? I think we should just call a taxi since...
Yep.
Can you keep it down?
Strained, harsh, and completely unintentional. But with heat prickling at the back of my eyes and the mild throbbing at my temple, I could honestly do with a little silence for now.
Keep it down? We almost crashed, Becca!
I know what happened. It was a lapse. I'm sorry.
A lapse? You call that a lapse? Becca, I really don't want to end up a mangled mess on the side of the road. Or a mangled mess anywhere.
Oh no! Foreshadowing!
All I'm asking, if the time ever comes, which I hope isn't right now, is a peaceful death. Give that one to me at least. Not that I'm asking for it, Please.
Isabella. Belle, you're overreacting.
We almost died.
If you're so worried, why don't you drive?
Don't have a license.
I keep telling you to get one, didn't I? For the past 5 years. Do you see why now?
I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two.
Oh gosh. All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away, then, while what's left of my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue, I don't allow it to. Because in each of those words she let loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home, is what she'd tell herself during her first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. Even I'm not sure if I still believe that it. And if there's something in her reasons that has changed along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers to keep.
I'll be careful this time, I promise.
Oh god.
Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now?
She nods, and that is the end of it. God damn it. Rip, don't use your phone. Just don't use your phone. I know it was a ghost, but at the same time, just don't use your phone while driving. We spend the rest of the trip back to Salem Well in silence. Salem Well? Huh. All thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on a flu-addled mind and of smiles never meant for my eyes abandoned, if only for a brief moment. Oh boy. Oh, finally, Monday 24th now. It begins routinely enough. Immediately after I've read the news this morning, I called her, offered to treat her to a free dinner to help her take her minds off things, because knowing her, this might turn into another episode where she'll lock herself up in a room. Oh, this is where she got the sale, right? It doesn't happen frequently. She's grown sensible that much at least, but I might as well prevent it before we go down that road. The last time I did, less than 5 years ago, after the incident at Devlin Court, it took Ashton, of all people, to coax her out of her sulk. She isn't the one responsible for Miss Cooper's death. Oh no, this is a lot later. But this will weigh on her regardless. After all, the woman was her mentor. Oh, this is when we call her out and say, hey, look, do you want to hang out or something? Oh man, just when Rose died. It was only for a brief period years ago, and they never worked together again after. But she still feels like she owes the woman a lot up to this day. To my relief, she agreed, even promised she'll meet me at St. Grady right after my classes. Though it is a bit odd of her to ask me to stay safe before suddenly cutting off our talk. Everything's going swimmingly. Oh no. Yeah, this is exactly when she got hit by a car, isn't it? Oh, this is fucked. What isn't part of the plan is her failing to turn up, leaving me waiting for hours.
Where the bloody hell is she?
Oh man, well, yeah. I mean, we are pissed, but I guess she does have a good reason. Reason being, well, you know, she is kind of like hit by a car, right? So, yikes. 4 hours from the time we agreed on, and still counting. Burning Embers, hello, and welcome. Welcome to the letter. Yet I received not a single call or text from her. This after I took the courtesy and effort of sending her a message, telling her where I'm heading to and when I had to leave the school. She could have done that too, at least, and saved me the trouble of waiting.
She can be such a child sometimes. I swear, if she locked herself up in that room, she's not going to hear the end of this.
Glancing at my watch only stirs up my temper further. You know what I just heard? I heard scratching in my headphones, so I'm guessing the voice actor while doing that was scratching her arm or something. Almost closing time now. With the exception of a few still in line for some late night coffee and snack, or those simply finishing their food, the small crowd inside has started to thin out. Half of the normally bustling place is now empty and the speakers have stopped playing music seconds ago. Oh, they're closing already! Still, I wish they kept it going longer for a few more minutes. I can do with some relaxing music right now, especially with the pitying looks of the manager and the one manning the cashier are giving me once I hit my second hour of waiting here. The former even offered me another cup for free after I drank through my second one earlier. Really? We get free coffee? That's really good. Naturally, I appreciate the gesture. The woman has been nothing but kind to us in the times Isabella and I happened to catch her here. This time, however, they probably think my date stood me up or something, even if reality falls far from it. Extremely far. Honestly, this is more like waiting for your child after school, if there's any comparison to make. Although, if it were Ashton, if we ever do go on a date, I doubt he'd ever do this. I mean, debatable, right? He may be an embarrassing friend to have for Zachary and Isabella and his odd moments, but he's definitely a reliable guy. Probably the only one I've ever had the chance of knowing this long, except for Zachary.
If he won't make it, I'm sure he'll at least have the decency to inform me beforehand.
Not that I'll ever have the courage to ask him, or anything of that sort happening anytime soon. Man, just fucking ask him! Like, it's Ashton, right? Like, she has a crush on Ashton. Like, I reckon definitely ask. It doesn't have to just fall on him. I haven't even forgotten my poor attempt at a confession back at secondary. Oh, she's already done it! Okay, well, yikes. I wrote a short letter for him then, only for it to end up unread and hidden away someplace. Oh, he didn't read it? What? I might have already lost it. Oh, she never gave it to him! In fact, after I moved out from home, along with that diary I used to religiously write on, but all of that's irrelevant and a wholly different matter from this. Besides, it's getting late. It's already quite obvious Isabella has no plans of ever showing up tonight, and if she thinks she's getting away from pulling such a stunt on me, she's got another thing coming from her. I mean, it's good that she's actually waiting for 4 bloody hours. When I called her this morning, I genuinely believe she's better than that childish part of her, but this simply proves things otherwise, doesn't it? She should be thankful. It's only because of my own stubbornness and good faith in her that I stayed here beyond the bounds of what my own patience allows me.
And look where that got me.
I might as well leave now too. Considering the loud blaring of sirens passing by outside, getting home tonight might take longer. Probably an accident. Oh, you have no idea. They rarely happen here in Luxbourne, but not entirely unheard of. Most of the time, it just results in heavy traffic and a few roads nearby being temporarily closed off, judging from the direction the police mobiles headed to, and from where an ambulance came from earlier. It's in the same route I take.
Joy of joys.
Without delaying, I gather my things back in my bag, shoot a quick thanks at the cafe's personnel for allowing me to stay this long, and hastily leave in the place. Hopefully, I'm not too late and the side streets aren't too congested yet. However, not 2 steps out, my mobile rings all of a sudden, effectively stopping me in my tracks. I answer it without checking the screen, fully expecting to hear Isabella's string of apologies and excuses. A series of reprimands is already at the tip of my tongue. Friends or not, what she did is simply unacceptable. She needs to learn. She's 26, for goodness sake.
Isabella! I've been waiting for hours! Where the bloody fucking hell are you? We agreed on a time, didn't we? This isn't funny, you know?
But the one that responds on the other end isn't her voice. This one is deeper, almost out of breath, and talks with a bit of a hurried tone. Oh, was Ashton like the first response there? Oh,
Rebecca,
dear.
it's me.
Oh, Ashton. Ash! Why are you calling me so suddenly? Do you need something?
Where are you right now? Salemwell?
No, but I'm about to head home. I was supposed to meet with Isabella after school. She never showed up, though. Why?
Ashton doesn't immediately answer, however. In place of his reply, I find myself focusing instead on the noise coming from his side. People shouting orders from afar, a few curses flying off and about, and someone yelling at another poor bloke. There's also the low murmur of what appears to be a small group of people around him. Farther back, if I strain my ears, is the din of car horns and vehicles driving past. He must have been assigned on another case, called to another crime scene, in the middle of the night at that. He'll probably end up spending time there until the investigations last, likely until tomorrow, without even getting any shut-eye or a short rest. My lips press tight at that, but I don't say anything. Any attempts to call him out on it before has resulted in an argument. The best I can do at the minute is keep these opinions to myself, no matter how much I disapprove of it, even if I'm not the only one who shares the same opinion. Even Zachary and Isabella has something to say about it. I'm simply the most vocal out of the 3 of us. That aside, none of those explain why he's calling me in the middle of his work.
Ash, are you still there? I'll be home soon. If this'll take time, just call my landline number. Give me about half an hour. I should be able to find a quicker route home, hopefully.
No, Becca, don't go home yet.
It's going to get late if I don't leave now, Ash. There seems to have been an accident along the route I take, too. I'm not sure, but I saw a couple of police mobiles rushing past a few minutes ago. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, do you?
Oh boy.
Becca, about that. I need you to get yourself to the hospital.
Hospital? Right now? Why?
A hollow feeling suddenly creeps down my stomach, despite having eaten dinner mere minutes ago. Ashton's hesitation doesn't help either. Whatever his reason for calling, it can only be taken as an unpleasant based solely on his tone.
Ash, is there a problem? Wait, it isn't you, is it? Did you get hurt or something? I told you to never make a joke about that.
Oh boy.
Please tell me this isn't one of those...
It's not for me. Calm down, Becca.
Oh,
Well, why the sudden need for a hospital visit then? I sure as hell am not sick. Who's it for?
Ah. Silence again. Oh, just say it, mate! If this dilly-dallying is simply his reluctance, or he's just carefully measuring the weight of his next words, I can't tell. For all his good looks, he can be brutally blunt, even when putting a concerted effort on it. Within our small circle, unless we really have no other choice, no one ever trusts him with the task of delivering the bad news. And this one isn't it? Who put him up to this? The fact that he's dragging it out like this only increases my apprehension.
Ashton, if you're just going to hum and haw for the next 5 minutes, we're better off...
It's Isabella.
Come again?
Isabella. Scaredy cat. She's...
I know, it took so long, right?
Okay, listen up. You didn't hear this from me, and you're not the one who should have heard it first, but someone has to be there with her, and I can't.
Hold on. What exactly happened? I was just talking to her this morning. Now you're telling me she somehow ended up in a hospital?
Yeah, that accident you mentioned earlier. It's...
Oh,
Bloody
boy.
hell, Ashton, out with it!
Damn it, Ash!
Just a few hours ago, a car ran her over while she was crossing the street. I can't give the details yet. We're still checking on the cams, but the driver fled afterwards.
Fuck.
She was left bleeding in the road.
All at once, as though the wind has been knocked out of me and remembering how to breathe becomes a whole different endeavor altogether. My hand makes its way over my mouth as I fight the tremors from gradually sweeping over me. Little by little, the memories of the last few hours rush back to me. Her asking me to keep myself safe, my calls going unanswered for a long period, and the passing wails of an ambulance.
She was still breathing when the paramedics arrived, but I won't lie. Her condition's critical. Concussion, multiple fractures, and internal bleeding. They said she lost so much blood, and it'll be a miracle if she makes it through the night. Damn it, when I find the bastard who did this.
Oh boy.
What about Zach? Zachary, does he know already? Shouldn't we tell him about this too?
Yeah.
No, not yet. Don't tell him anything yet.
Why?
Let's just keep the circle small for now.
What?
I don't want to alarm him. I'll tell him myself tomorrow, but I need you to hurry to the hospital. Can you do that for me? You're the only one I can trust with this right now.
Yeah, I'll be there. No problem. Don't worry about it.
Alright, okay. That's one problem off the list. Thanks, Becca.
Jeez.
I'll keep you updated with how things are on my side. I need to go.
He ends the call abruptly without so much as a goodbye or a single reassurance everything will be okay. He doesn't know, none of us knows, and we can only hope amidst the fading of sirens in the distance, like the very life quickly slipping away in front of us. When my body finally moves, despite trembling hands and knees threatening to buckle at any time, it's only this single-minded desperation to reach her that pushes me. Please, please hang in there. The whole ward is almost too quiet when I arrive. No paramedics or nurses zooming past, no doctors in scrubs blaring out orders, or even patients moaning and whimpering in the triaging area. Triaging! Sorry. She's already been taken to the trauma room, according to the overhead announcements.
Attention, please. Adult Tier 1 trauma alert. Please respond to the trauma center, shock room 4.
None of this is what I'm expecting. The lack of chaos. That sounded like Ash, the voice actor for Ash. With the air so calm and unstirring, in spite of what's taking place beyond this waiting room, so unlike what they often depict in the telly. Although it'll be foolish of me to believe any of those shows. There may be some degree of accuracy in it, true, but it's all often done for the sake of entertainment and stirring up people's emotions. Yet, despite fully knowing that, I still crave for the noise, the commotion, and the worried voices, or even the shouting. Anything, whatever that will temporarily take the edge off my nerves. God, I can't read today at all. Jeez. Instead, much like everything today, all I have to All I get to have when a trauma nurse finally shows up is an impassive declaration of she's in a critical condition, ma'am. Nothing I've not yet heard from Ashton before. Oh no, there it is. Ugh. He doesn't spare me another word, not even a single explanation of what they're doing to Isabella. In the next minute, I'm being entrusted with her belongings, everything now smeared and reeking of fresh blood. Oh, isn't that like a biological hazard? Afterwards, it's back to that silence again, longer this time, with only glass doors occasionally whizzing, as well as the nearly wooden voice over the hospital's intercom for company.
Paging Dr. Nicholas Vogel to Lord William Ward. Shock Room 4. Please report to Trauma Center Shock Room 4 stat. Dr. Vogel, please.
But who am I to demand for more, when in some part of this bloody emergency ward, Isabella's fighting for her life? In the end, no matter what my complaints are, what I want to hear or see, they're all useless here. I'm useless here.
Dr. Vogel, please report to the Trauma Center Shock Room 4 stat.
Damn it, Vogel. All I can do is sit down and wait, go through every small motions to keep myself occupied, prevent my mind from thinking of every ugly scenario this might lead to, because as stubborn, annoying, or childish as I regard her time and again,
I don't want to lose a friend to this.
Not in this manner. And it's that thought I hold firmly to. As the hours go by, as the halls grow quieter and everything around me turns dimmer, bleaker is what I cling on, along with a small plea at the heart of it. A muttered prayer, desperate and earnest all at once.
I've never been the religious kind. I don't think I ever will identify as one. But
Same.
if there's some other force, something, someone out there who can hear, please listen to me just this once.
Please don't take her away. Before long, sleep claims me, fraught with lasting images of blood and a single voice on a vain struggle with death. Thus, the waiting game begins. October 25th, Tuesday. Oh, Isabella! Ah! The following morning arrives like any other before it, bright and clear, as if the world hasn't completely tilted out of focus the night before, like nothing ever happened. It's good day. It's a good day? But it's good day by common standards, albeit one I can't fully appreciate. Maybe I would have if it isn't the hospital's glaring fluorescence that greeted me first, or my eyes still aren't rough with sleep, or I've chosen a more comfortable place to doze off. Even better, if I've gotten a more pleasant news than what I received after waiting for hours on end. But times like this, you simply take what you can get. It could have been worse. We could have easily lost her. The doctors and nurses said so. But by some bull-headed miracle, we didn't. What do you know? She's actually found some use for her stubbornness. If she survives this, it seems this will be the last time I'll rail on her about that. It might have saved her after all. They had to induce coma, yes. It may not be what we wanted, but it sure as hell isn't the end for her, and that's enough. That's good enough. We can work from there. At least like this, we know in her own little way, Isabella's still fighting and hoping isn't such a futile thing for us. Zachary thinks so. Unlike me, he never falters, not even once since he arrived and joined me in my vigil. Even when the uncertainty starts to have its sway on me, all he has for me are reassurances.
You did the right thing, Rebecca.
You don't know that. What if she doesn't want this? Do you see all of these? Wires and tubes and bandages everywhere. She's barely herself, clinging to dear life as it is. She can't even hear us. Doesn't even know there are people here worried sick for her.
The point is she's still here. Don't beat yourself up over what ifs. This ain't over for her, aight? I've seen people recover from even worse. Have some faith in her.
I do have faith in her.
You know what? I think this is just a lack of sleep talking. You been here since when? Last night?
Oh, yeah.
Go get some rest, Miss Gales.
But Isabella's...
He's just calling us Miss
I'll
Gales.
take care of her, don't you worry. We can do shifts if you want. But go home first. We'll talk about that later when you ain't looking like you're about to fall apart.
Good idea.
If you keep going like this, you're the one who'll end up here next.
I don't know if it's the optimism in his tone that did it, but at his words, regardless of the mood around us, some of the exhaustion finally lifts, enough for a soft chuckle to slip out of me. How odd. Out of all people, Zachary's the last person I ever expect to get a pick-me-up from. After all, we've never been particularly close. At best, we're good friends, we laugh, we talk, we laugh when the situation calls for it, but admittedly, none of those will ever occur if Ashton or Isabella aren't there. I feel like, yeah, Zachary said the exact same thing, didn't he? Yeah, wow, so they feel the same. It's not entirely uncomfortable, but awkward nonetheless. We simply can't seem to find something to talk about without those two to drive the conversation. Still, here he is, in spite of that gap or whatever dark cloud hanging above his head lately. I can't possibly reject his offer knowing that, can I?
This feels like a conversation I had with Isabella a few days ago. I said the exact same thing to her.
Then maybe it's a sign you should rest. Let me take over from now.
Maybe. But I'll keep that in mind. Are you sure you'll be fine alone? I'll come back this evening. So if you need anything picked up, I can get it for you.
Nah, no problem on that front. Besides, if I do need something, my apartment's just a few blocks away. Skip and a hop, that's all I need.
That's all he needs.
Focus on getting some sleep. Let me take care of this for a few hours. Do it for everyone's sake,
Will do. Thanks, Zachary.
Such a good guy.
If something changes with her, promise me you'll call.
You'll be the first one to know, ma'am. Well, if it comes to that. I hope the news I bring will be better than the one we got this morning.
Yeah.
Crazy thing having to wake up to this.
Rough thing.
I hope so too. I'll see you later.
I give him a smile before leaving. Frankly, it's a weak and half-hearted attempt at encouragement, and whether it's intended to be for me or for him, I don't linger over it. At the end of the day, we both need any little strength we can muster and extend between us, and in whatever form those may choose to come. Jeez, I really can't read today. The door closes behind me with a soft click, at last muffling the ceaseless beeping from the machines. But I know this isn't the last time I'll be hearing those. A wholly different atmosphere meets me when I step out the hallway. Sterile, placid, along with this sharp, bitter air dangling oppressively above my head as I make my way out of the ward. It stands as a stark contrast to the room I came from only seconds ago. I think Ash is about to come in now as well, because I remember Ash also went inside and Zachary was talking to him. Or Zach fell asleep here, and then Ash came, I think. With the whole place like this, Zachary's passing remark about Isabella years ago rings truer. He's right. There has always been a certain warmth she carries around her wherever she goes. The sunny, sprightly kind reminds you a little of home, and those childhood memories so often forgotten, something I both envy and ignore in her, to the point of taking it for granted. But in spite of the circumstances she's trapped in now, it remains with her in that room, and leaving it is like a douse of cold water. Every thought, every responsibility, every worry I've set aside last night returns to me tenfold. Someone has to inform BRC. Then there's also her aunt who works in another country. She needs to know as well, her family in the Philippines too. And though he never asked for it, I'm sure Ashton will also appreciate any news on her condition. I don't know why, but that last sentence just got to me. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? What are these words? I can't read. I don't know what the fuck English is. I'm so sorry, guys.
Bloody hell. This is supposed to be easy.
Call and deliver the news as simple as that. Offer small soothing words if need be, no matter how meaningless or how flat they fall in the other's ears. Yet my hand wavers. The moment I pull my phone out, my whole body freezes. I stop in my tracks while my thumb hovers uselessly over the names on the screen. Her aunt, her mum, Ashton. The letters on it flicker brightly, almost accusingly at my stalling. How would they react? How would her family feel hearing this from someone they've never even met before? How do I tell them? What do I say? There are a million ways this can go, none of them pleasant, all of them out of my control.
But I can't simply pawn this off on someone else, can I?
Even before I agreed to be her emergency contact, I've always known the responsibilities that come from being named one. At a young age, I already did, and Isabella's trust goes as far as to put me on that list. If that doesn't say what she thinks of this little friendship, I don't know what else will. And now I balk at
That
it?
simply isn't how the Scotswoman in my blood does things.
Oh, she's half Scottish? So before I lose this sudden resolve or stumble back into another cycle of negative thoughts, I press down the call button. Ashton first. I'll think about how I'll deal with the others later. Although I have no clue how I'll open the topic, the news is still a far cry from a good one. But with him, I won't have to worry how to best phrase it. Word choice and turn of phrase notwithstanding, ultimately, this will all just sound like an update on the situation for him. When he finally answers, however, a certain tightness in his voice makes me pause. Hoarser, rougher than I remember. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out he hasn't gotten any sleep yet.
Becca? Didn't I tell you not to call around this hour unless it's urgent?
I remember, sorry. Don't worry, this'll be quick. It isn't urgent, but I thought you should... You deserve to know about this as soon as possible.
Can it wait? At least until lunch?
It can, but I'm about to...
Rebecca, I'm in the middle of something right now. I can't really talk over the phone. I'll just call you back.
The shuffling of papers follows his dismissive note. He hasn't dropped the call yet, but his impatience and inattentiveness are clear. There's no need to guess. I can almost see it. The small scowl over his features, the way he reaches up with a hand to pinch the bridge of his nose when he can't figure something out. His quick, sharp movements while he checks and reads through everything with an enormous focus. Generally, I'd ignore it. I called him for an entire different reason. Even so, this sudden nonchalance irks. Maybe it has to do with his own exhaustion. Without a doubt, he's been at this since his call last night. That part, I understand. Still, would it hurt him to pause and ask for a minute? Do I always have to spell it out for him? Or maybe it's time we stop beating around the bush. Should we? 1. Aren't you going to ask about her? Or 2. How's the investigation going? What should we do? Number 1 or number 2? How's our relationship with Ashton? Not that good. So, up to you guys. I'll let you guys decide. So, like I said, number 1 is, aren't you going to ask about her? Or number 2, how's the investigation going? I'll give you guys 10 secs. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's go for it. Aren't you going to ask about her? It spills out of my mouth before I can think on it twice or pick a better set of words, in a low voice without the anger but brimming with a quiet accusation. Later, I'll blame it all on this fatigue, but in the minute, I simply let everything loose. More for his sake than mine.
Aren't you even going to ask about her? How she's doing?
The rustling from his side abruptly stops. All of a sudden, a silence sweeps over him, but this is neither him mulling over how to best articulate his answers, nor waiting for me to say more. This is how he evades, how he skirts around truths he's not ready to brave. A final defense of sorts, and a quick rebuilding of walls coming apart at the seams. Though his pause doesn't really last long enough to hold, and when he regains his bearings, the shuffling returns with it, more urgent, stiffer than his actions earlier. A heavy exhale follows at his heels. My words have been thoughtfully ignored before he even responds.
I don't have time to worry about other things right now.
Ashton, your friend is in the hospital, not some random stranger.
Not some other thing.
I don't know that. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it when they hauled her up in that ambulance last night. I'm pretty sure I'm the last person you should be telling that to.
Look, I know you couldn't give a shite about people outside of this little circle of yours, but this is someone you've known for years.
And your point is?
My point is, you could have spared a little of your precious detective time to check on us, instead of brushing us off at the first chance you get. Even Zachary went all the way here when he could have just called.
Rebecca, you know I can't be there while I'm trying to figure out what happened here. I can't just leave in the middle of things. I told you that last night.
He wants revenge.
At least try to show some concern.
I am concerned.
Well, you certainly don't sound like it.
How am I supposed to sound then? Royally pissed? In tears? Rebecca, if you're expecting me to cry over this, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Why don't you try a little harder than that? Maybe then it'll be easier to believe you.
Oh, what do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still out here, trying to find the godforsaken asshole who did that to her? That isn't concern to you?
I don't know, you tell me. Better yet, why don't you tell that to Isabella if she ever wakes up?
I don't bother waiting if he'll reply to that. A swift swipe of my thumb over the mobile screen brings a curt end to the conversation, if you can still call it one. But I know him. He may not be the type to hang up on anyone once a discussion goes sour or turns against his favour, but he'll end up dragging this out until every argument has been said. We both will. We're both headstrong like that. Besides, there's really no point in bickering further. I've already said what I wanted to say. Although, with how tactfully phrased it was, I don't see any hope of it having an effect or him ever showing up here. I don't expect him to. Oh, he will. He'll definitely come. It'll be just Zachary and I on this until he pulls that stick out from his behind. Coward. If I have enough mental capacity to take this on right now, I'll gladly do so. Just to get everything over with. But the way things are, and I am now, I'll only end up doing more harm than good, both to myself and those around me. Besides, the more pressing matter is getting out of this place, because when I look up from my phone and finally take in my surroundings, only an unfamiliar hallway greets me. Brightly lit as any other corridor here, though oddly void of people and the usual hospital clamour. No voices announcing over the intercom, no beeping from machines inside the rooms, not even a single patient waiting or the occasional doctor or nurse on their rounds. I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere while I'm busy worrying about those phone calls earlier. That ought to teach me something.
Of all the places to get lost at.
I've never thought much of hospitals before. They're a necessity. Walking alone in a deserted area inside one, however, with the walls coming off too white, too clean in my eyes, and perhaps even too dull, I can't help but feel a bit queasy about it. A heavy, unsettling feeling lands on my stomach. It's a bit unnerving, but far more agreeable than the sensation of being watched I've been enduring these past few days. And I know I shouldn't do this here, but...
Hello? Anyone here?
Oh, I love the echo. Faint footsteps and a murmur of voices echo from somewhere. Still, no one responds to my call. It merely bounces off the walls before dwindling until all I have for company is the sound of my footsteps. Well, there should be an exit sign or something, right? Every hospital would have that. Admittedly, this is a little disconcerting. But for now, I'll let the distant noises guide me as I walk along the empty corridor, looking for that exit that will lead me back to the main lobby, or anyone I can ask for directions. A good minute passes, and another. I'm about to turn around and retrace my steps instead when... Mother! Who? What? The sound of it makes me halt. It's a little muffled and infrequent, but grows louder after each passing second. With the hallways devoid of people, I don't have to strain my ears to pinpoint where it's coming from. Not too far ahead, in fact. Just past a sharp turn at the end of this corridor, and clearly, it's the voice of a child.
Where are you, Mother?
On a normal day, I won't concern myself with this, considering where I am. Hundreds come and go here every day. Whatever business they have here, whether they arrive in tears or not, I've got nothing to do with it, and vice versa. Personally, I don't think a stranger's worry would do much when there are nurses and doctors already attending to them. But that also begs the question, why a child is here crying? Possibly on her own. Did she happen to wander here like I did? If so, I can't very well leave her here, can I? I can't even find my own way out. What more if it's a child? Though, I'm quite sure the hospital is a safe place and the roaming staff will eventually find her. Who knows what else might happen if I just leave her here.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Who is that? In any case, I don't have the heart to turn my back on this, not when this kid's just a few meters away from me. I might as well check up on her, make the job easy, and bring her with me to the lobby where her parents can easily find her. It's not totally out of the way. So gingerly I seek her out, taking light, mindful steps as I approach where her sobs come from, hoping not to startle her. My caution, however, is ineffectual. The closer I get, the more frantic her sobs become. I try to ease her fears by calling out to her, but...
Hey! Hello there? Can you hear me? Mother, please! She's here! She's here, Mother! She's going to take me!
What?
I'm not going to hurt you. Are you lost? She won't leave, Mother!
Oh, God.
I'm heading back to the lobby. Do you want to come with me? Your mom could easily find you if we go there. Mother! I don't want to go with her. Tell her to go away.
Alright, we'll leave.
Alright. Why don't we just find someone who can
Suddenly she cries out, and in a flash, her stifled sobs grow louder and more violent, fraught with fear and dread. It doesn't take too long for a little fact to register. I'm not the one she's talking to from the beginning. Whoever it is, she doesn't want the person with her in there.
Mother, she's here! Help!
Oh god. I don't think twice. With all the haste I can gather, despite the weariness in my bones, I break into a run before panic sets in. Damn my own safety, but if something happens to that kid, not more than a few hours after Isabella's accident at that, I won't forgive myself. I may not have been able to do anything for Belle, but this one's right here in front of me.
She's going to hurt me! Help me!
I won't just sit this one out like a useless person. Another scream ripples through the air as I near the bend. However, this time her sobs die down along with it. A wave of cold creeps through my whole body as the entire corridor goes wholly silent. Quiet has never been a good thing in situations like this. In 3 more steps, I make it around the corridor, bag ready in my hand, only to be greeted by a wall the moment I turn into the adjourning hall. A dead end. It takes me a few slow moments to take it all in, despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. No sign of the girl or whoever's with her. Just an empty alcove and a single painting sitting on a bare wall.
Where did they...
A quick scan of the area reveals nothing, not even a hint of a scuffle. The only way out of here would have been the sliding doors standing adjacent to me, but even that looks untouched, bolted shut to boot. The corridor I've just passed through seems to be the only way to get here apart from that door. I would have met them if they tried to leave. I'm far from having Ashton's keen observation, but that certainly didn't sound like a simple tantrum you can shove under the rug and forget about it. Anyone making a desperate cry like that would have left things in disarray.
Especially a child.
Yet, I'm the only one standing here, in the presence of a painting that looks to be mocking me and the absurdity of my actions. Although, to be fair, the real Lady Charlotte Ermengarde probably won't be doing any of that sort. So this is Charlotte Ermengarde, one of the mistress of the mansion. Local history has constantly written and spoken of the woman fondly, endeared to everyone, much like her parents. Didn't we see her in Marianne's story? At the very, very end, when Marianne was locked in that small little prison, and the ghost was on her, she was flashing into this, right? And isn't her face also on like the big window on the start of the mansion as well, like where the stairs lead up to? The beloved child and heir, up until she took her own life. A pity, but that's a lesson for another day. It is her? Oh man. Above my worries over what I heard and finding that child, I've yet to find a proper way out here. Thankfully, I won't have to fret over it longer. Soon, another voice calls out from the opposite end of the hall, one of the custodial staff, from what little I could glean of his uniform at the distance. He doesn't bother hiding the annoyance in his tone. From the sound of it, this doesn't appear to be the first time someone unconsciously ended up here.
You there! What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I think I took a wrong turn somewhere.
Well, wherever it is you want to go, it isn't there.
I'm really sorry. I heard someone crying here and I thought...
Lady, this place is off limits to the public. Has been since a month ago. Closed off for renovations. Didn't you see the signs back there?
Oh?
Next time, learn to read.
It won't happen again.
Whatever. Get out of here, lady. Exit's back there, second turn on your right. Don't let me catch you here again.
Strange though, he doesn't wait around for me to leave and walks off after saying his piece. I'm not certain if it's because he's simply tired of having to fend off unauthorized personnel from roaming here, or he's just gotten to the point that he no longer cares anymore. Shaking my head, I step back from the alcove and prepare to head out, but not before taking a glance at it again. I'm not even sure anymore what I'm expecting to see before me.
Must be the wind.
No, I don't think it is. So without another look, I leave it alone. Oh! Thanks, Lady Ermengarde. Brush your teeth, yeah. Coming home feels like a lame attempt at normalcy. A false return to it. Although, what surprises me more is how easy falling back into my usual routine is after I've forcefully tucked all of my worries away. For the rest of the afternoon, against what I've told Zachary before leaving, I've busied myself with every unimportant mindless task I can get a hold of. What can I do? Sleep simply isn't that easy to come by at the moment. By the time the sun sits well over the horizon, much of the work I've scheduled today has been finished. All that's left for me to deal with is the mail. Even Isabella's family has given notice of the accident, regardless of how I felt about doing so this morning. It didn't take too much effort, actually. The words have been turning around my head, and the same ones I've been dreading to deliver have long since lost their meaning after that little call with Ashton. Now they're just phrases, syllables meaning nothing. Her mum took it well, in spite of that, but if there's more to the unruffled reaction she gave, it's one thing she doesn't let show.
So very much like Isabella.
Is this because of the kind of life she has back home? Not that I'll ever fully understand. I'm my parents' only child. We aren't well off, but so far, I've lived a relatively easy life. I didn't have to think about bills or food for the next day, or paying for any siblings' tuition on top of my own, or supporting a sick father's medication. All I have to worry about were my grades, and it'll gain Mum and Dad's approval, or what we'd be having for dinner. When put next to hers, they all pale in comparison. They look less like problems and more like a petty issues this way.
Petty issues?
But as unimportant as it sounds, sometimes its ugly head rears at the most inappropriate moments. And sometimes they come through your mailbox in the form of a fancy-looking letter, pretty ribbons and all. Ooh! Whoever sent this has spent silly money on the envelope alone. Verging on ridiculous, actually. I can already imagine Isabella wrinkling her nose if she sees this, then she'll complain about unnecessary expenses and rich people problems. I'm almost afraid to touch it myself. Oh, is this the invitation we're getting to go to the Ermengarde mansion? As if simply brushing a hand against its crisp surface will be enough to put a crease on it, and it'll be a terrible slight to Slender. But as extravagant as I find this, it isn't really the first time I've received one. Most of the time, it's not even for me, so who am I to complain? Either way, no look of surprise crosses my face once I flip the envelope over to see my parents' name written in a neat script.
Nothing new then.
The years in the academy. Is that how you spell academy? I thought it was a Y. Academy? Naturally brought with it various connections. People from other fields, art, science, business, politics, you name it. This one, though, gives off a much personal vibe. Letters like this usually come from old students, people who've grown fond of my parents, and they, in turn, treat like children of their own. I've only met a few of them. Most have moved on to become successful in their chosen careers, and little letters like this are their way of expressing gratitude. It's one thing Mum and Dad are proud of, rightfully so, and I'm happy for them. But there are times I wish they'll remember they had a daughter here, the real one. Not that it's of any importance now. It's not like they didn't raise me well and provide it for me. They did. I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for their hard work. And like a dutiful child, I do everything I can to give back, even if it is a small thing as letting them know they've got another mail waiting for them. The phone rings for a good minute before someone answers. Mum, her voice as warm as I remember.
Hi, Mum. How's the conference going?
Well enough. Until your dad sprained his ankle.
Oh no, is it bad?
I'm alright. In case anyone in this family cares to listen, I'm alright. Very much alive, darling.
And there you have it. He'll be up and walking in a few weeks, don't worry. We're going to have to extend our stay here until it heals, though. Is something the matter?
Nothing big. Just that mail arrived for you. I got it last night, but things happened.
Things. A lie, thankfully she doesn't notice. Although, if I'm going to be honest, well, it was a thing that happened. A small part of me yearns for her to do so and ask me about it, but I put that idea almost as soon as it surfaces. I shouldn't make them fret, they're busy.
What does it say?
Raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times, blah blah.
Becca manners. That isn't how I taught you to read.
Sorry. You are cordially... it's an invitation, Mum, for a housewarming party. From, Hannah?
The name rings a bell, though at the moment I can't recall when or where I've heard it recently. It must mean nothing too important if I didn't bother committing it to memory. There are a lot of Hannahs in the world, so who knows?
Hannah.
She also wrote you a note, Mum. It says you used to be her private tutor at the Evans mansion, and that she misses you and would love to see you two again.
Aww, well that's Rebecca. That's what Rebecca would have said. It makes my heart clench to read another openly say those words to them, the same ones I want to tell them. I want to see you too. It's been years since we've been together as family, and if there's one thing that hasn't changed from childhood, it's that Mum and Dad are still busy with their respective careers. Out of the country, away on some meeting or symposium, sometimes for months on end. It only grew more frequent with the years until I'm old enough to live on my own. I'd love to think that's how I've become independent at such an early age. They've always praised me for that. At times I wish they didn't.
Evans? Oh, I remember now.
Hannah Evans.
Honey, it's Hannah. Hannah Evans. Remember? Bright girl, 2 years older than Becca.
Didn't she get married a few years ago? 7 now, I think. But they grow up so fast, these kids.
Yeah, she invited us to that too. Fonte de Medici. But we missed that one because you had to present your paper in Singapore.
We did send her a note after. Still a shame we couldn't attend, though. What is it about this time?
She sent another invite for a housewarming party.
Don't go there.
Becca, when is it?
This Friday, Mum.
Oh, that's too bad. We'd love to be there, but Da's not in a condition to go walking around. I guess we'd have to decline again. I really miss that girl.
I could go in your place.
Oh god, why? I let it slip without thinking. Damn it, Rebecca. Personally, I've never been fond of gatherings, regardless of how simple people make it seem. But if there's one thing I hate hearing, that disappointed note in Mum's voice always ranks first. Whether it's directed at me or some other thing, that doesn't matter.
Are you sure? Don't you have work this Friday?
The event will be in the evening, Mum. It shouldn't take anything away from my schedule. It's all right. The invite's for 2 people. I can bring someone with me so things don't get boring.
Is it Ash? It's probably Ash. It is Ash. I think I remember.
I see. Maybe you can also invite Ashton?
Mum, that's a sure no from him. He hates attending parties. But I'll see what I can do.
Oh, he'll definitely say yes. Not because of you, Rebecca, but because he wants to get closer to the rights so he can investigate.
If not, I can always bring... I can always go alone. I'm a big girl now, I can handle these things. This isn't too much of a big deal.
Okay, if it's not going to be a big problem for you, I don't see why not. We owe you this one, darling.
No problem, Mum. I'll even say hi to Hannah for you.
Please do. And let her know we'd love to see her once we're back in the city. Leave her our number or something.
I will.
But you know, the 2 of you would have become really good friends.
Are we friends?
Remember? You met with her once. If my memory serves me right, you were 12 then?
Wow. This too I can't recall. I'm surprised she can. It's probably one of those meetings where we only talked a bit before going our ways. If she did leave an impression, I'm pretty sure I would have written about it somewhere or at least recognized the name. As it is, the only few people I remember clearly from that time in my life is Ashton and Mandy. Who's Mandy? To some extent. Mum must have sensed my confusion because she laughs.
Don't push yourself too hard, darling. Really? It felt like having 2 daughters back then. Sometimes I wish they didn't send her away to boarding school. But well, you know how often that goes with them. Still, try talking to her while you're there.
We'll see. I'll let you know what happens after.
I'm looking forward to it, darling. Take care of yourself.
Will do. You too, Mum. Bye. Tell Da to be careful next time.
She chuckles then. A hearty one, tender and always light on my ears. I feel like this is a motel. It looks like a motel. I mean, look at the door numbers and stuff. She may be a stern teacher, but this is the part of her I love most. The sound of it still echoes even as our call comes to an abrupt end, bringing with it a memory from so many years ago. When life and responsibilities that accompany adulthood are things far from our minds. If given the chance, I'd love to go back to those. I don't dwell on it though, shaking it all away almost as soon as the memory forms a clear picture in my head. I've always wondered how Isabella can easily pretend everything's normal over a phone call, then bounce back to her usual self immediately after. I've seen her do it plenty of times. For me, it just drains whatever energy I have. Soon the exhaustion I've been keeping at bay since last night rushes over me, creeping to my tired bones, weighing heavily on my sore muscles. Here and now, I allow it. And with another night I'm about to spend on her bedside watching over her, waiting for that tiny bit of miracle to happen. I can't afford to say like this. Bloody hell, Zachary will know in a heartbeat if I didn't follow up on that promise. So, with another sigh, I put everything at the back of mind and tread back to my room. A long night waits ahead of me. 4 hours later. Oh my god, I'm heading back out after a short nap, ready and dressed for a different waiting game at the hospital. An empty traveling bag dangles freely in my hand as I head straight for Isabella's room first, unlocking the door with a copy of the key. Oh, well, that's nice. She lent it years ago after I complained about the mess and offered my help in cleaning up. I thought the gesture was completely unnecessary back then. After all, I could always knock, but she never did bother taking them from me, always returning it or turning away from the conversation whenever I insisted. At one point, I simply stopped trying to hand it back to her. Who would have thought I'd be using it for this purpose?
Isabella, I'm coming into your flat, all right? Your aunt asked me to bring you a few of your things.
Oh, she ain't there.
Don't worry, I won't touch that thing you've been hiding under your bed.
What, porn? Laughable, this vain attempt at courtesy when there are no ears on the other side to listen to them. So without waiting for the answer she's not here to give, I push the door open and step inside. Yuck. Her unit's still a mess, and TV's still on. Instant noodle cups on the table, a pile of clothes on one side, papers strewn about everywhere, and an unkempt bed among other things. This much is a given, will always be a given. I've been here several times already, and I still wonder how she can function like a human being with the place in this state. She didn't even bother turning off her telly last night before leaving. Well, I mean, she was running for her life, right? Now is filling the room with even more depressing news.
The authorities are still trying to find the cause of death for all the victims. Early investigation revealed most of them were employed under Briar Realty Corporation at the time of death.
Damn it.
Meanwhile, BRC has refused to comment on this.
Sighing, I reach for the remote to turn it off. No more of that. We've got plenty of negativity going on around us right now. Besides, she'll definitely complain about the electric bill if I just leave it, even if it's entirely her fault. However, that's neither here nor there. This little detour isn't for this. It's for her aunt. A little request from her if we can bring a few of Isabella's stuff. Hi, thanks for letting me know about this. I'll be by in a few days. Just need to sort things out with my work. If it won't be too much to ask, could you bring a few of her stuff to the hospital? Only for 2 or 3 days, so I can head straight there. Thanks. Is this a smartphone? Actually, yeah, it might be a smartphone. Just for 2 or 3 days to make caring for her easier once she takes over from us. She doesn't elaborate much. The message itself is short and directed, no mention of the accident or even Isabella's name, but the mere lack of it holds enough gravity. It speaks of the things we all dread facing in the next few days, and little truths we'll have to ease into after. Both of us know this isn't a one-day thing. It may last weeks, months, bloody hell, some even continue for years. Thinking of those numbers alone drains the optimism out of me, but I refuse to wallow on them. I think of what Zachary said instead. He's right. He has a point. We've all known about her years ago. She's stubborn.
And she might make it through because of it.
The odds are, so to speak, astronomical. But she's been beaten worse before. She might not even need that miracle the doctors so blatantly told us to avoid hoping for. If she tries hard enough, she'll probably win over this with willpower and nothing else. If that ever happens, as unsightly as it may seem, I will laugh at their faces. Just imagining how it might go brings a smile to my face for the first time. Somehow, it calms, and the whole task of packing what little essentials she might need becomes less of a chore. In less than half an hour, I'm done. Before leaving, I spare Isabella's room one last glance, disturbingly quiet now without her in it. I'll get a chance to scold her for this mess later, then we'll argue about it like we often do, like normal. But for the moment, my concerns are best left here. She doesn't need those right now. Even before it never crossed my mind I'd ever feel apprehension over a hospital visit. No one in my family has experienced illness to warrant an overnight vigil. And when a relative did pass away here some years ago, I was still all too young to commit the details to memory. I recall the tears, but the emotions simply felt too distant to stick. In truth, everything I remember of hospitals are the bright lights, the cozy private rooms, and the doctor's tender smiles.
Until last night.
Now, the lights glare, shining far too brightly, intensely against my eyes. Uh-oh. The smile from the on-duty nurse found us under every single uncertainty. The room at the end of this ward looms forebodingly ahead of me. Oh shit. God damn it, my hand keeps going to the scroll, my bad. This being the second day has thankfully dulled the edge to that. Somewhat. There's still the voice at the back of my mind, whispering, expecting the worst, while hoping to all that is good in the world that won't find an empty bed and an equally graver news upon my return. But I push these all down as far as I can the minute I'm near her room. It won't do for Zachary to see me this way. He'll send me back home for sure. The latter won't do either. I'm not going to let him, when all the help we can get will only be between the two of us until her aunt arrives. After that call with Ashton, counting on him to show his stupid mug here sits right next to Hopeless. He's probably still out there playing his equally stupid detective game. I know he's just doing his job, but he didn't have to put it that way. What exactly is there to avoid here? He's so willing to face everything head on, but this? How absurd. Regardless, whatever the answers to those will have to wait, along with many others, as I give the door to Isabella's room a mild push.
Hey, scaredy cat?
My hand stills. Oh, this is when Ashton was in her room and Zach was still asleep. My whole body freezes, stopping me almost a hair's breadth from fully opening the door.
Ash?
A frown soon follows my confusion. Oh, so Rebecca was outside. There, settled on the edge of the bed, is the last person I've expected to see here no mere seconds ago, sitting almost too comfortably at that, with a small smile gracing his face. As if last night's events haven't taken a huge toll on him. But it's obvious. His fatigue is there, in the tired lilt in his voice, the detached look in his eyes, and the manner his shoulders droop. He's barely keeping himself together. Just looking at him right now makes me regret ever shouting those words at him this morning. Anger can be a delicate thing to hold. An apology immediately forms in my head, already at the tip of my tongue, although before I can even string two words together, he continues. I read this so many times. Tip of my tongue. She says that a lot. He has yet to notice my presence, and I've yet to make myself known. But somehow, something in the way he speaks next prevents me from doing so, despite the casual note he takes. Something anyone, including me, isn't supposed to ever hear from him. Something deeply personal.
Really? How long are you planning to stay like that? You've been criticizing my sleeping habits, yet look what you're doing. I hope you know Zach and Rebecca are already losing sleep over this.
Ashton pauses, holding the moment, allowing his words to seep into the air. He means that as a reprimand, or I assume he does. It sounds like the one from the way he phrased it. Yet the tone of his voice betrays their very essence, and not long into that silence, he chuckles. Low, close to breathless, and if I listen closely, I'd say there might have been a hint of long-held fondness in it.
But this is how you've always been, isn't it? Clumsy, careless, a scatterbrain and a crybaby. Always getting in trouble. Always getting us in trouble.
He trails off. Another pause. Another held breath. Then he sighs.
Always making me worry.
And with it, the air inexplicably shifts to something gentler. Oh, look at us, we're biting our lip. Oh man, we're so jelly. Oh man, poor Rebecca, she's hurt. Warmer. A quiet little thing filling the room that neither seeks to stifle nor confine. Instead, it only lingers in the silence, bearing simple truths no mere words or grand gestures can express. When he finally chooses to break it, he does so with all the care in the world, softly in hushed tones, fragile in itself.
But those things...
Because sometimes all it needs is not a thunderous declaration, but a single fleeting second of small smiles, tender touches, and sincere honesty.
Those things... I love those.
Oh man, we got an achievement, a truth long held, and the picture of the achievement is a heart broken. Oh man.
And everything. Everything that's you.
Here in this room, amidst the faint whir of machines and the soft moonlight streaming from the windows, in this little space, those words roar louder than the briefest of sighs, and that lone second forms a memory. One he'll probably keep, even after this moment fades with time. One I'm intruding on, never meant for my eyes to see or my ears to hear. The prayer that comes at the end of it is never for me to behold either.
This place feels a whole lot emptier without you. So please, if you can somehow hear me, come back.
But I can't bring myself to turn away. even as silence once again sweeps into the room and only the beeping of the machines remains, even as he himself cowers under what everything he stands for.
This is stupid.
Because I understand with the most painful clarity the other truth this scene proffers. What the tiny gleam in Ashton's eyes, his darting glances and his kind smiles convey. Little things, little gestures. To others, it may seem nothing, but to him, it means the whole world, because it's the only way he can say everything without fumbling or losing his nerves. Right from the very start. I know. I've always had an inkling. The thought has always been there, hiding, tucked, and neatly sealed away at the back of my mind, in the same manner he keeps his own secrets close to himself, which is why there's no jolt in me, no surprise. Just a slow, aching, burning realization of a truth long held, of feelings never meant to be for me. Oh no! You'd wake up, really? Because of how romantic it is. Oh, but poor Rebecca. And yet, in the end, a flash of anger still surges within me. It clenches, pierces, leaving my heart torn and numb, draining every colour and noise from the world around me. The bag in my hand hangs weightless in my hand as the magnitude of those words gradually closes in on me. You didn't want to hear this. You didn't want to see this. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't have gone here. But before I can move and force my feet to take the first few steps to save myself, Zachary's voice echoes from the room, deep and still rough with what's apparently sleep. Utterly clueless of what has just transpired only minutes ago. How I wish I can be as oblivious to it as him right now.
Hey, Ash.
Everything snaps back into place as it sounds, and the veil lifts from my mind. All of my reasons for being here rushes back to me along with it, no longer held by that familiar, bitter feeling slowly consuming my thoughts. But it's still there, coiled in a tight knot in my chest, simply waiting for another chance to unfurl itself.
How long have you been here?
Just came in a few seconds ago.
Lies.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you.
Figures. It's not a problem. You probably need to rest anyway.
You're the one talking. You look like shit.
So I've been told.
Seriously, how long have you been up?
18, 20 hours
Damn.
or so? It doesn't matter. I'll get some shut-eye later.
Please do.
Where's Rebecca?
Funny how he remembers me now. Not a few moments ago, he's unknowingly taken that one little thing I hold dear and allowed the burden of his bloody sentiments to crush it. After all these years, I'm the one that becomes the afterthought. But I take this mention of my name as my cue to compose myself and hide all of this somewhere safe, preferably somewhere no one else will find, just like how it has always been. Ultimately, this isn't what I came here for.
I sent her home early, but she'll be back too.
At the light rap, I give the door. Zachary breaks off mid-sentence at once. The eyes on me when I slide into the room, though the attention doesn't really stay. Soon the bag I'm carrying catches the eye, and they're both shooting me bewildered looks. Zachary, in particular, appears about to say something, but I can't quite place how he'll articulate it. A swift glance at Ashton tells me the same thing, though the question in his eyes comes off more passive, muted. I raise a hand at them before they can say something about it.
It's not mine.
The light mood changes as soon as I've finished. They know I don't have to spell it out for them. I don't think they want me to when that What? They know. I don't have to spell it out for them. I don't think they want me to when that reality is just lying a few inches away from us. Got it. Either way, the atmosphere doesn't last. The world isn't done rendering my heart useless, as it turns out. Even Zachary, clueless as he is, gapes at me with a worried crease on his forehead. He has the right to be. The bitter tone my voice takes once the conversation turns elsewhere surprises me too.
No, I'll take it from here.
You don't have to do that. Zachary and I can handle this for a few days.
Both of you already had your turn with this. It wouldn't hurt to have another person helping out.
This isn't some sort of a competition, Ash. We're doing this because someone has to be here for her.
I'm not making this one. I just volunteered, didn't I?
Despite knowing Ashton only means well with his offer, hearing it directly from him, seeing him throw his affections around as if no one knows. It stings. It burns.
Don't you have an investigation to finish?
And Zach has freelance gigs in line for the next few days. You have students to teach. Don't push it, Becca.
Yet, when all is said and done, the only thing I do is beat a hasty retreat while that green-eyed monster rages inside me.
All three of us have things to take care of on our own, but between us, it should be easier to find some time to...
Fine. Good.
This isn't the proper place for it. With my words too strained, too quiet, no amount of anger would get my own feelings across to him. 17 years, and it never once did. What more now? Damn, she's been in love with him for 17 years.
Do what you want.
It ends with 3 steps and a hastily shoved bag. In all honesty, I'm not entirely sure what I'm expecting will show in Ashton's face. Anger to match mine? Confusion maybe, or perhaps regret. It certainly isn't the straight-faced one he has now. However, more than that, beyond the impassive mask he wears, in the passing minute I lock gazes with him, I see it. And the glimpse of it out of everything tonight is what shatters all of that remains of my restraint. I don't wait for him to say anything. Quickly, I tear my eyes away from his and march toward the door, ignoring the worried glances Zachary shoots my way. My heart may be far from fragile, but neither of them needs to see it break. The door closes with a soft click, but for a moment I remain standing amidst the empty hall, taking in the silence, listening for anything that would dare break it, waiting for that hammer to finally fall, or for the ground to swallow me whole. None of it happens, of course, and for what's perhaps the 100th time in the span of a second, I'm left to recall what I saw in Ashton. It's not hearing the thoughtfully worded admission of his own feelings that did it, nor seeing those unguarded yearning glances he gave her, but facing the faraway look in his eyes and who he has always seen past me, past the person who has always stood in front of him. Oh man, I never had him in the first place.
I love him.
Oh no, Rebecca! The words itself leave a bitter aftertaste in my mouth, despite wanting them to be heard for so long. Suddenly, at their mere utterance, the world goes too still, too bright, too sharp, too cold. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into my heart and settles there, replacing a warmth I no longer remember feeling. Distant, much like the only memories I have of this place, with nothing else to cling to, I run. Behind me, the door once again creaks open and Zachary calls after me, cordial, friendly, and utterly unsuspecting. I ignore all of it, because even after all this, his isn't the voice I want to hear. Oh no, poor Rebecca! God damn it! I make it out of the hospital in a flurry of steps, my mind abuzz with thoughts and emotions in turmoil, ignoring the courteous smiles every staff member shoots my way, or the voice shouting after me. My footfalls hit hard against the pavement, each stride a stark refusal, each distance I put a continued denial. More than once, a passing stranger would give me looks. Is it pity? Consternation? I've never heard that word before. Consternation? What does that mean? Scorn or dismay?
It doesn't matter now, does it?
All I hear are the voices inside my head, jeering, mocking, while the rest of the world blurs around me. I'm the one who has always been by his side. I'm the one who knew more about him than anyone. Why couldn't it have been me? But the universe doesn't have an answer for that, and neither does anyone. So I run, until everything fades away from my mind, until my breathing goes labored, until my legs buckle, feet catching on loose stone, and the world tilting sideways at long last. Ah, she fell! A yelp comes from my mouth, but the pain I'm expecting, hoping for, doesn't. When awareness returns to me in a rush of sounds and colours, it isn't his hand that grips my arm, nor the sharp gleam, usually in his eyes, that I see. Far, a striking contrast. This one's softer, kinder. Though worry slightly mars his voice, there's nothing in it but genuine concern. Zachary's. It's always a wonder how they even became friends.
Easy there, ma'am.
He doesn't waste any time, not even to wait for some form of gratitude from me, and quickly pulls me to my feet. However, it isn't until he draws a handkerchief from his pockets and gingerly hands it to me that I glance up at him, searching for an explanation.
For your, face.
He makes a vague gesture around his cheeks, his movements small and a bit awkward, before letting his arm fall and hang at his sides, suddenly too afraid to point it out. He does not retract his hand offering the handkerchief though, merely giving me a sheepish shrug and another smile when I finally lift a hand up from my cheek and it comes away wet. Oh, I cast him another look, wary, unsure. But all he has for me is the same accepting smile. There's a question behind it, but for the moment, he holds off. So with another indrawn breath, I take the offered cloth, if only to keep my hands occupied while I put myself together.
Thanks.
No problem. Take your time if you want, and I'll just be here, pretending I didn't see anything, and take your time.
Look at his face. I said, I'm a fool. I don't get it. Zachary's polite enough to avert his gaze, and only when the last of the tears have been wiped away does he say anything.
You okay? The floor almost had you there.
Yeah, thanks again. Sorry about that.
The words ring hollow even to my ears, and I'm not certain either if they're meant to be an apology for all his troubles, or for showing him this pathetic side of me. Nevertheless, he accepts them.
Nah, it is cool. Surprised me though. Didn't think you could run that fast.
Yeah, how did he catch up? Wasn't he like far away from us?
But you don't look really well right now. Something happened?
Oh yeah, it did.
No, nothing. Nothing important.
You can't tell him.
I was just a little shaken, I think, from all that running. I'll be fine, Zachary.
Oh, Rebecca.
Don't push yourself too hard, alright? I'm sure Bella will understand if you ever decide to take a break. Hell, she wouldn't want us fussing over like this. If you aren't feeling up to it, just say so. Let Ashton and I take over now. It ain't a big deal.
Oh, I'm sure Ashton would love that.
Regret follows the second the heated words leave my mouth, and the light mood inevitably shatters. As black as my mood might have been, Zachary doesn't deserve to receive the brunt of it. No one does, even Ashton. Yet, all I see in my head right now is the image of him seating inside that room. You mean sitting? Or I guess that works as well, seating. Inside that room, spilling his heart out unlike he ever did for me, wearing such sincerity I've never seen him before. The concerned expression returns to Zachary's face, and with it are the hundreds of questions he's been avoiding to ask. Under his honest scrutiny, I balk. I look away before he can see past this and catch a glimpse of an ugly side of me. But considering how well I've handled this so far, I won't be shocked if he already thinks less of me.
Rebecca, is everything really alright?
I bet he already knows the answer to that. Regardless of appearances, Zach can be quite as perceptive as Ashton. It's part of the reason why they became friends in the first place. Frankly, I don't understand why he's still making an effort to ask. For the sake of being polite, responding to that will only open a whole different can of worms. He should also know that. What a mess. The best thing to do now is to simply end this. Alright, well, you guys know the drill. Number 1, I didn't mean that. Or number 2, what do you even know? So I'll give you guys 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, I'll choose it. Eeny, meeny, miny. 1, I didn't mean it. Alright, I think I just saw that. So let's go with that. Regardless of his good intentions, Zachary doesn't deserve to be caught in the same kind of chaos my mind is in right now.
I'm sorry, Zachary. I didn't mean that.
Smile. Bottle it up. Hide it where other people can't judge. Even it leaves me wanting for a more explosive outburst. At least this way, there's no guilt, apart from the one I have to suffer myself.
I know you don't. You're actually scarier than that when you mean it.
Am I? Really?
Oh yeah.
Only a bit. A wee bit. Don't take that personally, please. I mean, you're a really nice person, but you also have to deal with Ash and Bella sometimes. That takes a lot of patience, especially Ash. And you're a teacher, so I guess...
Zachary?
Yes, ma'am?
You don't have to say anything to make me feel better about myself. I'm tougher than that.
Yeah, she's tough.
Well, I was just...
Besides, I've already heard most of those from Isabella. I'm used to it. Trust me.
Aww. Zachary's eyebrows are drawn together when I glance back at him, his mouth opening and closing in a weak attempt to answer my reassurances. This probably isn't where he wants to take this little talk, but the turn it took left him no other choice. Much like how I found himself thrust in this position. Out of all people, he now has to be the one standing in the middle to fix things, even when no such obligations have been handed to him. Bloody, he didn't need to follow me. But that's just how he is. This is an unintentional mistake on my part too, yes? Though I still can't help but feel responsible. The best apology I can give him right now is a light pat to his arm. A bit half-hearted coming from me, but I'd do it still. It's not like I have anything left I can offer.
Look, Zachary. All of this, it's probably just the stress talking. Don't worry about me. We've all been on the edge since the news broke. I haven't even gotten a decent sleep since it started, and it still doesn't seem like things will be slowing down anytime soon. Maybe it's a good thing Ashton volunteered when he did. At least now we have a few hours to rest, yes?
It is a good thing.
Take your own advice and go get a break yourself, okay?
I throw in another smile at him for good measure, but it falters the second my eyes meet his. It's that look again. The one too honest. If I hold it for a moment longer, I'll probably end up saying things I shouldn't, more than what I'm willing to disclose at the moment. Because despite wanting to get these feelings across, there are also ones I've harbored longer than any. If Ashton won't hear them, won't have them. If Ashton won't hear them, won't have them, then neither has the world any right to do so. I'm more than happy to cling to these if it'll keep the misery at bay. I've already done so before, so I won't change a damn thing. So, without bothering with a goodbye, I walk away. Zachary doesn't stop me, doesn't reach out a hand or call out my name. This is as far as he'll allow himself to cross. For all his concerns, between the two of us, he's more familiar with this line we keep between us than I am. I won't intrude far from what those boundaries will allow. But when his voice rings out again, above the din of traffic around us, in a last attempt to reach me, it does exactly what it's been reluctant to do.
Hey, Rebecca! About Ashton.
I stop and turn around at him nevertheless. Even with half a mind to bolt, caught between that small urge to hide until this simply blows over and my own curiosity.
Frankly, I don't really understand what happened back there. I ain't gonna pretend I get the gist of it. I ain't sure if this'll help either, but look. He might be the smartest guy I know, but there are times when things go straight over his head. Way over his head.
No malice, no ill will in it. The word's not meant to hurt, just another truth, because apparently we've got heaps of those to throw around today.
So, I think you should talk to him, at least.
Sound advice.
You don't have to do it, of course. That's just my 2 cents. Ashton can be a bit dense. Sometimes things really work better if you just say it to him.
Zachary ends it with a shrug, as casual and nonchalant as he can manage. The nervous lines of his shoulders tell a different story, however. He wants to say more, but this is all what those metaphorical boundaries we keep will allow. What I will allow for now. In the end, he simply settles for a smile of his own, reluctant, unwilling to leave things here, but with no exceptions of it being returned. He's the one who departs first, seconds later, leaving the ghosts of what he said hanging over me. And perhaps it's exactly the fear of being left with these thoughts that lead me to the cafe instead. Less time to think about these as long as I'm moving and in the company of other people. At this hour, the cafe is usually filled to the brim with people. That's the reason Isabella and I rarely ever go here during the evenings. It's simply too much of a hassle when we can prepare food ourselves in the comfort of our homes, when there isn't much reason to eat out lately. What with life going on a busy streak, no time for long lines. Better spend that doing something productive. Yes.
Lucky there isn't one tonight.
Only few people are idling around the counter. I feel like with this especially, Rebecca's route has a lot more narration than their voice acting, is what I feel. It's way longer than what I thought as well. 4 of them, in fact, a woman in her 60s and a teenager busy with his phone. Both are just waiting to be served their orders. Oh, okay, so it's Luke and Kylie. Man, look at Kylie's head is huge. It feels like it's huge. The other 2, a posh-looking man and a child who I immediately recognize as Kylie, appear to have not picked anything they want. For some reason, my stares linger at the guy. Yeah, because that's her uncle or something, right? Uncle Luke or Tio Luke. Though dressed relatively well and looks harmless, I haven't seen him around these parts before. Someone new to the neighborhood, perhaps? Even so, there's something familiar in him. It feels like I've seen him somewhere before. That also begs the question of why Kylie is with him. Of course, the girl easily takes a liking to anyone who buys her sweets, so it's both a bit worrisome and unsurprising. The blonde bloke doesn't look particularly thrilled with the company, though. I tear my eyes away from them soon enough once the guy at the counter appears, ready to take my order. That, and I'd also hate to be accused of ogling strangers.
Irish stew. Just for one person.
He quickly raises an eyebrow at that, while I swiftly avert my eyes down to my hands, although I don't miss the consoling look he gives me. I rarely visit here alone if I can help it. Often it's always with Isabella. She can be a bad influence sometimes. But that's precisely why this guy has known us long enough that, if I ever drop by here alone, he already has a number of ideas why. Doubtless, he's already heard what happened in the news. No need to bring it up in something as casual as ordering food. There's proper time and place for grief and empty sympathies. He gives me a small smile before leaving to prepare my order while I fish for my wallet when...
Look, you little ankle biter. If I buy you the biggest parfait they have, will you please behave? I would just like 10 minutes of peace and quiet.
You said you'll get me some bread pudding this time.
Yeah, well, darling, they said they ran out of it. Just pick another one so we can be on our way.
Their parfait doesn't look as cute as the one my mom bought me.
Oh my god.
Parfait is just ice cream, sweetheart. It'll melt no matter how dainty it appears. In the end, it'll all look like an ugly puddle. Now come on, just pick one. It could even be the most expensive one on that list. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
He caught himself.
What I would give for someone to buy you off my hands right now.
What? My whole attention instantly snaps back to them and their conversation. Jumping to conclusions isn't something I'm particularly fond of, especially when all I have are baseless assumptions. But you can't really trust a stranger these days. No one around the cafe seems to have noticed his words either. Very suspicious words. Still, I don't move. Yet. But my hand has already shifted from my wallet to the book I'm carrying. A hardbound textbook. Looks harmless, but if a situation calls for it, it might be a good deadly weapon. Oh my god. Might. I haven't gotten the chance to try it anywhere so far. Today could be the day. Oh my god.
Promised.
Look, if you don't want a parfait, how about a Bonifay pie? I'm sure it'll taste just as good as any other bread pudding.
What's a Bonifay pie?
I'll even buy you the entire tray. How does that sound?
Man, he's loaded with money.
That's not what you said before.
Well, sweetheart, adults change their minds sometimes.
You said if I come with you, you'll buy me a bread pudding, and I did, and now you won't keep your promise. I want to go home. I miss my mom.
Aww.
No, darling, if I remember correctly, and I have a good memory, honey. What I said was, if you come quietly with me, I might buy you one. The quiet part didn't happen. Though now that I'm sober, I think this is a bad idea. I should just ship you someplace else for that peace and quiet.
Oh my god. Oh, that's it. No hesitation. In a few paces, he's within my reach, and without warning, I'm slamming the flat area of the book against his skull. Oh my god, are we just attacking someone?
Ow!
Oh my god. There's a cry of pain, followed by him instantly crouching down, hands nursing the sore spot. Almost comically, if this were a different situation and the safety of a St. Goretti student isn't at stake, I'll probably feel sorry for him. I mean, has anyone seen how thick this book is?
Get behind me, Kylie.
Miss Pink!
It's amusing how fast her expression changes from the pouty one earlier to something that of utter delight upon seeing me. But there's no time for any pleasantries, not even quick ones, because soon the man straightens and I'm readying my favorite newfound weapon for another hit. Except this time, he's ready, and before I can land another one, his hand shoots up to catch my wrist in a firm hold. Oh boy. And the look on his face.
Bloody hell, woman! What's your problem?
To say he's pissed would be a complete understatement. Had I been the weak-willed sort, I'd probably cower under his sharp gaze. But that simply isn't how I roll. Wait, haven't we seen him already when we were invited to the Ermengarde mansion for the ball? If he thinks he can scare me and do as he pleases here, just because I'm a woman, or whatever his reasons may be, he's got another thing coming for him. So instead, I return it to him with the same intensity, with the same venom.
What's my problem? You're the one who has a problem here. Rotten bowbags like you don't deserve the freedom to roam this town. What are you doing to this girl?
And why is that any of your business, pray tell?
Kidnapper.
Oh, it's my business if I make it to be. Now, release me or I'll call the police.
His name is Kidnapper.
You think that scares me, Daisy?
Oh, another name.
I have a name, you sleazy douchebag.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh man, I love how he gives everyone's names. Like, we're called Daisy. I think Isabella's called Lily. Hannah is Buttercup. Rose, I think Rose was just... Oh, I forgot Rose. And Marianne was Mint. Oh, man. Yeah, he's got a name for everyone. Oh, man, that's such a... I love that. His grip on my hand only tightens when I attempt to shake it off. His tone may be dripping with anger and sarcasm, but the gleam in his eyes says it all. He's getting a kick out of this. Riling people up, getting on their nerves, invading their personal space. He knows exactly what and which buttons to push. The nerve of this person. The nerve of this asshole. If he thinks I'm going to give in to his goading, please, he might as well just kiss his sorry behind. In fact, why not do the most sensible thing right now? Teach him a tough lesson. Oh boy. What should we do, guys? Should we, 1, hit him where it hurts, or 2, shout for help? Oh, I don't know. Which one should we do? Alright, right now. Oh, yeah. So we're good terms with Zachary, we're good terms with Isabella, we're not good with Ashen, and we're neutral with Luke so far. Alright, I see a number 1, I'm going to give 10 seconds, so that way we can have a good decision on it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, I guess we're hitting him.
Mister, you have until the count of 5 to let me go and step out of my personal space.
A fair warning. Fairer than any I can offer for people of his kind. I'm already being considerate. Hell, this asshole doesn't even deserve a warning. If he doesn't listen, well, he's as much responsible for what will happen next as anyone.
Or else what?
Oh, now his name's Sleazy Douche instead of Kidnapper.
Such vulgar words coming out of that pretty mouth. A gorgeous flower like you shouldn't even be saying.
Don't say I didn't warn you, Bowbag.
Bowbag?
Love that intensity, Daisy.
Oh.
FYI, I like feisty in a woman. It gives them this certain charm. Why don't you?
5.
A second of silence. Then, without any preamble, my leg moves in one fluid motion. Oh, I got an achievement called Nuts and Bolts. Ah, did we hit him in the nuts? My legs move in one fluid motion and delivers a swift, powerful, well-placed kick to his nether regions. Yes, we did. Oh my god, I heard that. Needless to say, the effect is instantaneous. He yelps, abruptly drops his hold on me, and kneels over, howling from the pain. I can see tears forming at the corners of his eyes too, though the mere sight of it prompts not an ounce of remorse from me. I would have been gentler if he isn't such a dirty little prick with an ego too big for his head. Too bad. Whether this obliterates any chance of him ever procreating remains to be known, but a part of me is already praying he doesn't ever breed after this. We have no need of more of him in this world.
You mad woman!
I warned you, you ass!
Why, this is harassment, I'm telling you! Harassment!
Then why don't you tell that to the police once they get here,
You despicable! Whatever you're assuming I am, I'll have you know it's all in your head. None of it's true. You best have that pretty brain of yours checked before that gets worse. What is wrong with you? Is this the face of someone who'd do anything suspicious?
Well...
You don't think a stranger luring an innocent child with promises of sweets before whisking them away from their parents doesn't warrant any suspicion? You have a very funny definition of suspicious, asshole. Maybe you're the one who should have that head of yours checked.
The kid asked me to buy her sweets. You're the one who's suspicious here. I'll have you know, I have a wife.
He does. That much at least appears to have a sliver of truth to it. Oh, he's telling everything's the truth. He even makes a show of brandishing his left hand to my face with much flourish. Sure enough, a wedding ring is there, though all that earned him is an unimpressed glare from me. Immediately, a small part of me starts to feel sorry for whatever poor woman married this sod. I don't understand why he has to bring her up, either, as if the mention of her alone will magically present a solution to his problem. She must truly be a remarkable woman if she can handle a dirtbag like him.
And even my wife of all people in this bloody city, has never, I'm telling you, accused me of such a scandalous thing! You crazy woman!
Crazy
Married
woman.
or not, you're still a sleaze. Honestly, I feel...
Miss Pink, why are you fighting with my Teal?
Whatever words still left to be said here dies on my tongue. The same thing goes for the sleaze. Besides us stands Kylie, gawking at us with the same curious stare she often brings with her. I know that look all too well. A precocious child through and through. She doesn't say anything further. Her gaze simply moves between us, eyeing us both carefully, clearly anticipating an answer. From my experience, when it gets like this with children her age, it's a sure sign they won't leave you until you've given them an answer they're satisfied with. Lying won't do either. It has dissolved into a shouting match for heaven's sake. And did she just say Tio? Something falls straight to the pit of my stomach at that. But my tone is gentle when I finally address her, void of any apprehension and what might be the first hints of embarrassment. I pointedly ignore the latter. It can very well be that just the hunger speaking.
Kylie, sweetie, do you know this oaf?
Yeah, he's Teal Luke.
Uh-oh. Right at the moment, my brain stops. Every line of thought, every argument I still have against the man beside me dissipates in a haze. Amidst all of it, one memory gets triggered from a few days ago.
Tio? The one you mentioned before? The uncle? The guy Rowan wanted to impress? Or was that a dare? I'm sorry, I can't recall. Is it the one who promised he'll take Big Brother someplace cool?
Yeah, the one and the same. Don't you know who he is?
Yeah, we do. I sure as hell don't, darling. What? You met him? Because if I do, I wouldn't have let everything I've said earlier come out of my mouth.
He's my Teal Luke. Gazillionaire extraordinaire, am I? No, the fairy godfather.
He's your godfather. That's nice.
Oh dear.
The one and only.
Uh-oh.
Did I get that right, Teal?
More than right, sweetheart. I'm sure Miss Pink here understood everything you said quite perfectly.
Whatever it is that landed at the bottom of my stomach prior has shot straight up to my face and stayed there. The heat from it slowly spreading to my cheeks, coloring my face in the same shade as my hair. If only the earth would swallow me whole here and now. You know, deja vu, she did say this before in the hospital. His eyes are on me, I can feel them jeering, mocking. I can't even bring myself to look at him. What's in there? Amusement? I doubt it. He's probably having the time of his life right now. But I know, I can hear the sneer in his tone alone when he talks. He has that smug grin on him, which I may or may not want to punch off his face at present, just for the hell of it. But damage control. I need to do some damage control before this whole thing goes south. Uh-oh, oh boy. So, what should we do? Apologize to Luke or apologize to Kylie? So, you gotta apologize, but which one? Number 1 or number 2? Let's take a look. Oof, that took a dive. So, I'll give you guys a few seconds so that way you can catch up to the stream. So you guys can say either number 1 to apologize to Luke or number 2 to apologize to Kylie. I'll give you guys 10 secs. 9, 8, 7. Gotta have a quick swig of water. Oh. Ah. 3, 2, 1. Alright. Random it is. Oh. Okay. Though it pains me to apologize to a sleazebag like him, this is my mistake. With Kylie watching us close by, I don't want to set a bad example for her, do I? How is it? Oh wow, we got some good points for it. I'm surprised she grew up the child she is. If anything, I want to be the role model this man couldn't possibly become from her. Even if it means taking a few blows to my ego and stroking his insufferable one. A deep gulp of air, a short moment to wallow my self-respect, and then I'm facing him. The words are out of my mouth in a single breath.
I'm really, really sorry, sir. I had no idea.
Oh man, his smirk is impossible to miss. He's not making an effort to hide it, and even the smile is so irritatingly present in his tone. If I could slap it off him, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Now, it's an honest mistake, Daisy.
Oh.
No, I really mean it. I actually thought you were... And then...
It's fine now. It probably happens quite a lot to a few people who look suspicious to you. Seems I'm one of them now. But don't lose sleep over it.
Oh, gosh.
Do be careful with that book, though. A little more and you would have dislodged my poor brain off my head. What would I ever do if that happens?
Oh no! Did it leave a mark or anything? If you want, we can have it checked. I'll handle the expenses if there's a need for it.
Oh, gosh.
Now, what kind of man would I be if I let an attractive woman such as yourself do that? Why don't we just look at it this way? My forgiveness is coming from the utter goodness of my heart.
Oh my god, Luke. So full of himself. Exactly the kind of person I'll happily leave die in a ditch somewhere.
Of course, sir. Why didn't I think of it that way?
I know, right? But even someone as capable as you is bound to have a few lapses. No harm done, Daisy. Let's move on from this.
Oh, gosh.
Well, if you're going to put it like that, then I guess there's nothing left for us to talk about.
I figured as much.
Awkward. The whole exchange is nothing but an awkward display of fake pleasantries. Man, I really like Luke. Holy cow. One that brings much agony to the very pride I've willingly held back a while ago. I might need a drink later so I can forget any of this ever happened. Who would have thought the time would come when I'd meet someone tougher to handle than Isabella? Miracles of miracles, I swear. Though to my surprise, he proffers me a hand shortly before they leave. For a shake, I realise after a long minute of staring at it. I accept it, albeit half-heartedly. But all of the goodwill that small gesture represents melts into thin air when he winks at me. Ugh, winks. The gall of this man. However, there is no moment to ponder about it. Seconds later, the guy at the counter waves me over and hands me a paper bag as soon as I paid. He offers me another smile before I leave. Normally, I return it simply for the sake of returning it, or I don't at all, with the latter happening more commonly. For the time being, I do so freely. After that encounter and the scene we've caused, seeing a friendly gesture being extended to me, albeit from a person I barely know on a personal level, it feels like a reassurance despite bearing no promises of better days. I take what little I can of it with me as I step out into the night. A cloudless night sky greets me when I walk out of the cafe. Beyond the tall buildings, a blanket of stars spread out before me. Isabella once told me that the best place to view it is someplace outside the city, away from the noise and the obtrusive lights. She'd seen it once in her mum's hometown, and another in the university she used to attend. Then she asked if it's possible to try it out here sometime. I agreed with her at the time, if only because she appeared excited at the mere prospect of it. We made those little plans along with Zachary and Ashton. We never got around it before. Now we may lose that chance altogether. Even so, I find myself enjoying this despite being told it's only half the experience. Little things, you know, stuff you learn to appreciate when you're alone. Because at certain times, you get to meet people who are unfortunately born with the innate talent to ruin the mood and the scene with the mere existence alone. For example, the very driver of the car fast approaching my direction. Luckily, he doesn't notice me. But the fleeting moment we pass each other by gives me a brief glance of the people he's with. Oh! Kylie sitting on the back seat with a serving of bread pudding in her hands, and beside him, it must be his wife. He's driving by himself. He doesn't have a valet. Oh, that is not his wife. He takes a turn and disappears at the nearest corner. But throughout the night, that cursory glimpse of all things that bother me has left me wondering what kind of person his wife is. That is not his wife. And more than that is a silent prayer to the universe. I hope I don't ever cross paths with that douche again. October 27th, Thursday. Oh boy. Alright, let me save it right there, guys. I feel like this is going to be a really long one, and we have been streaming for 2 hours and 45 minutes, basically. So I am going to leave it there, and we are going to pick it up again soon. So I think I'll probably pick this back up on, I want to say, Sunday, because I can't do it tomorrow for you guys, today for me, because I have work very, very, very early, so I can't actually do it, which I'm so sorry. But we will be picking this up on Sunday. So guys, Sunday we'll be doing this all over again, 10 o'clock my normal streaming time, so 10 o'clock PM Eastern Australian time, where we'll be doing the letter, and it might go over midnight, so I don't want to say 10 PM to midnight. It'll probably be 10 PM to 2 a.m. or something like that. Depends. But yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll save it there for now, and we'll leave it until Sunday, 10 p.m. So I'll see you guys then. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.